here we go then. Street Talk for episode 700. Very special week for Coronation Street this week with Jenny's departure. But like I said, that she was on the show. She came on for a lovely interview with me. Thank you very much, Sally Ann Matthews. And as a special treat for episode 700, even though Jonathan has sent us a few little clickbaits, I thought I'm going to make this one. I'm going to blow our own trumpet because we generated a load of good old clickbait articles ourselves from this, didn't we?
Yeah, we were worried because every time we do,
you
do an interview, there's always some kind of horrible...
No, sometimes there is.
They always find a horrible thing to say, a horrible headline, and sometimes it's based on something that may be controversial in the actual interview, but a lot of the times it's just... I
really try hard when I'm editing the interviews to make sure that it there's nothing that can be picked.
Reflects
but
properly.
Honestly, I was kind of interested, especially because this was the only interview that Sally Ann's done on her departure this week. I was like, I know people are going to be listening to this and they'll pick something out. So this isn't particularly a quiz like we usually do it, but I would decide to read out some of my favourite headlines.
I can work it out.
Okay. So and this I think should also lead into maybe a discussion about what she was talking about and indeed Jenny's departure itself. But the main one, my favourite one of the week was from the Star yesterday, who had put out an article. Yeah, you do. You know the answer to these. The Star had an article entitled "Coronation Street Jenny actress says co-star is terrible to work with after quitting soap," and that was the absolute best. When I knew that they'd pick something out of this, but I thought, what on earth could it be? But this was. Do you want to say what this was about? This
is Jodie Prenger, who plays Glenda, who we got moaned at on YouTube for not using the actors' names.
No. I think that was a fair comment. I think that was a fair comment.
I tried to make sure that you say them.
I know,
but I always don't. I don't always have them names to hand.
No, we did not.
I do know everyone's names, but you guys know if you listen to this show long enough that I have a terrible recall.
Yes. Anyway, so Jodie Prenger,
she brings in sweets, and she was making a joke. Sal was making a joke.
Sal was saying, "Oh, she's so terrible. She brings sweets all the time," and like. Why was that picked out? I want to know what it's like for these journalists who listen to the interviews, and do they just... They pick up on one word and they're like, yes, got it. Let's make an article out of that. Yeah, of course they do. It's so funny.
That's their job.
I love them for doing that this week, and I'm glad that none of the articles that came out of it were actually horrible, were they?
No.
This one was a lovely article, so thank you to the Star for highlighting it.
Yes.
Liverpool Echo put one out saying, Coronation Street Sally Ann Matthew joins rival BBC show after soap exit as Jenny Connor. Gemma, what's this talking about?
This is because she's going to be doing Mastermind.
Celebrity Mastermind. And we're going to be seeing Sally Ann Matthews on at some point this year, next year. I don't know, actually.
We all know that people will often have to decide Corrie or Mastermind. And it's one of them rival shows that, they're always trying to pit themselves against each other.
At the NTAs, they have to put them completely opposite sides of the auditorium, otherwise they'll be tearing each other's hair out.
And Mastermind's always like, oh God, what stunt are they going to do this Christmas? Because we got to top it.
I thought this was great. It joins a rival BBC show. Obviously, people are going to go, oh, brilliant, what's she going to... Oh, Mastermind. But we did hear, at least from the interview, that she's been doing auditions for other programmes, or an audition, I think she said. So there is more Sally Ann Matthews coming up in the future on your telly screens, hopefully.
Perfectly content.
Yeah, 100%. With their bread baking. Yeah. So that was a great one, Liverpool Echo. And the Manchester Evening News, Coronation Street stars real reason for exit as departure scenes changed as legend was to return. So a bit of a mouthful, that one, but it's basically saying that something was different about Jenny's departure. And this is my favourite scoop of the interview.
Yes, they were going to have a vision of Bet Lynch in the behind the bar. And I know this, we've had this verified. This is not, this wasn't a joke that we took seriously. Like we have been known to do. We know that this was because we've talked to somebody else about this to ask what their input was, and it is fascinating. The idea was going to be that the very last scene where she goes into the Rovers and she sees Rita was that she was supposed to look over the bar and see Bet there, and Bet was going to sort of toast her or something.
It wasn't going to be like a, CGI or AI Bet. It was going to be cutting to a clip of Bet at the bar saying something or other. I know what she was supposed to be saying. I wonder
what they would have how would it upscaled it or something.
I don't think they would. So
I think it would have been
honestly, would have been kind of grainy and 90s-ish.
I really would have liked to have seen this.
I would love to see this, but would it have actually fit in the episode?
Yeah, maybe they cut it because it didn't work the way they wanted it to.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. And Sal said that she didn't realise that they'd cut it until watching it on Wednesday morning. But I have had it pointed out to me, and I think this is actually a really, really fair point, that had Bet appeared, then all the headlines would be Bet's back, Bet returns. Obviously, no, not back, although the headlines would have said.
Yeah, of course they would.
Bet returns to the Rovers. Yeah. But it would have maybe overshadowed Jenny's exit somewhat. But
the thing is, it was a bit low-key.
Yes, it certainly was. I mean, we'll get onto that ourselves in a minute. But so I don't think it... Yeah, I think that having Bet appear on Coronation Street, even if it was just a clip, I think more people would have been talking about that, and I don't think that we wanted any more attention taken away from Jenny.
But you wouldn't have said that about...
Well, my other comparison is that Richard, did he overshadow Gail's exit? And I'm going to say no.
No, but it wasn't the same episode.
No, it wasn't the same episode, but it was all part of it. I mean, it was the episode before. I think that Richard's exit definitely added to Gail's. So would this have added? I don't know. I'm kind of in two minds, but
do you think
I would just love to see it. I want to see the original cut, and I know we're not going to.
Do you think that Vera appearing overshadowed Jack's exit?
Oh, good point. Well, no, it made it, didn't it? Yeah.
But they were a couple.
So it was also, well, I suppose it
could have had Richard Hawley.
Could have done.
Yeah, been good.
Richard Hawley. Bring back all the Richards for the cast exits.
Well, there's ghosts everywhere.
What would have Richard been? So Jenny goes to the toilet, and I know soap's characters don't go to the toilet, but she goes down to the toilet and Richard's popping up from the sewer.
Richard Hawley, the actor.
Well, Johnny Connor. Oh yeah, Richard, who plays Johnny Connor, as we should of course say.
Said that.
I'm really in two minds about it. I think I probably would have adored it. And it would have been a lovely surprise because...
Yeah, it would have been a surprise.
But would it have leaked? Because...
Yes.
I don't know, because Brian Capron's return was leaked last year, but that's because he went there to...
I thought you meant would everyone have been talking about it at 7 o'clock in the morning? Yes, they would have been.
I think they would have been, but anyway, I mean, maybe it would be out of respect to Judy Goodyear, I don't know, but anyway, I love that little scoop. We will get on to talking about Corrie soon, of course. This is talking about Corrie. The Express was another one that I enjoyed. Coronation Street, Sally Ann Matthews addresses major soap... These are just all tongue twisters. Coronation Street, Sally Ann Matthews addresses major soap shake-up after tearful exit. And
she's talking about the 5 episodes a week.
Yes, she says
I'm
that she
surprised
thinks it can only be good.
This wasn't spun, to be honest with you.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Like, I would have... Because I'm really good at finding the negatives in everything.
You'd be a brilliant tabloid.
This is my calling.
Yeah.
I think it would be bad for my soul, so I don't want to do
creator.
It. But I would have written something like... Corrie actress slams current boss schedule in exit rant or something.
It does go right, and it wasn't the exit. The interview is positive all the way. We went into it. We had a little pre-interview chat, and we were like, we
slagged everyone off.
Yeah, and then we said, right, now that's all out of the way. That's all good. No, we said we just want it to be positive, and Sal said after we finished recording, like, I don't want it to be negative. I'm feeling really positive about things. And I think it did it.
There's a lot of extraneous commentary and a narrative that's been spun out of this exit that's fascinating to see be generated by people who really don't know the truth, and it's not our place to say anything other than Sal's genuinely really happy with what she's up to, and she's happy with leaving the show, and I
think something we've
people making up load of crap. Like I
said, we've known about this for a very very long time, and we've also known that Sally Ann's told us that she wanted she wanted to leave. It was partly her decision. She wasn't axed, and part of what I wanted to
Well,
get
it wasn't
out from
partly
the
a decision.
No, yeah,
It's her decision.
yeah, it was her decision. And what I wanted to get out of this interview was to maybe quell some of the people who were saying, she was
there's
axed.
people that will never listen.
And I've seen a few people now. Like there was a comment on the Digital Spy Soap forum yesterday. Some poster said she wasn't axed. I just listened to the interview. She wasn't axed. But some people are still saying it. But
I wish people
would
shut up and saying that, because it's so ignorant. The way they use the term axe is like, they use it in so many different ways. It's got a very specific meaning of somebody who was in the show who was cut when they didn't want to be cut, and then left in a story that was crafted around their exit, right?
Yeah,
so that is why what's his face was called the Axeman.
Brian Park,
who the producer, he was called the Axeman because he axed characters.
Yeah, you got Mavis and Derek and Percy Sugden. And
if you're axed, you leave. You get told you're leaving, and you don't want to. Yeah. Okay. Getting fired is another thing altogether. And that is what a lot of people are actually saying happened in the situation. Didn't happen in the situation, clearly, but they're using the wrong terminology for it. And we know what happens when an actor gets fired because they're never seen in the show again.
We've seen it with Tommy Duckworth. We've seen it with Sharif.
Yes. We saw it a little bit with the actor who played Todd.
Yeah, Bruno, yeah.
Bruno.
Yeah, exactly.
There's been... Lovely. You will know if somebody has been fired... And it's happened recently, high profile in EastEnders, and I don't know the story behind that. People likening those two situations are just absolutely bonkers and making conspiracy theories out of nothing.
Yeah.
Learn what you're saying, like use the right words to describe what you mean. First of all, and secondly, that is not what happened. You would have known if she had been... anyone gets fired, because it would be in the papers and the story would be weird and they wouldn't be in the show.
Yeah.
The moment that they were shown the door.
This was a mutually agreed decision between Sally Ann and the producers. She's happy with it, and I know we've seen... Well, she's seen it. We talked about it. People saying on Twitter, "Oh, that was really low exit. Low key exit. That didn't... that what a kick in the teeth." But yes, of course I would have loved something bigger. I would have wanted, in Jenny's final year, for it to be, big story running up to it. I mean, people said the same about Gail as well, didn't they? But we didn't get that. I would have liked to have seen it, but I am chuffed for Sal that she got the kind of exit that she wanted, and I genuinely believe that this is how she would have wanted to go.
You guys need to listen, if you haven't done already, to the interview that Michael did with Sal, because there's a lot of interesting stuff in there. But one of the things she said that I've been saying for ages, and now maybe she said it, people will actually listen and believe this is true, that they use surveys and data. They ask people, whatever this is called, research. They ask people and they find out how to craft stories based on listener or viewer feedback or whatever it is.
Well, it guides them, don't they?
And one of the things
got a good idea without
that they do that I can kind of see why they do it is they don't. Sal said when viewers know a character's leaving, they become uninvested in their story and they don't care about the character anymore. And I definitely think that's true for characters that you're not bothered about, I definitely have said that before about people, or I've known, for example, with Bethany, when she was going, because she's back this week, I was like, I don't care what's happening here. I know that nothing's going to happen because she's going. Like, what's the? There's no tension.
We've all felt that, haven't we?
There's another thing that we can't talk about now. I don't know if we're going to talk about at the end in the spoiler bit.
I think we will this week. I think we might do next.
But there's another situation where I'm like, well, who cares about this, because I know that nothing's going to happen because But what I'm going to say is the solution to the problem of viewers become uninvested in an exit. Character's exit when they know that they're leaving is not to just not have a story. That's like a really poor solution to the problem. I don't know what the solution is.
And I think as well, it's fair to say that if a character who you really, really love is leaving, even if you know about it, people will still be invested in that story if it's a good story and it's a beloved character.
Make the characters more interesting. We all
know that Debbie's leaving.
Yes, we're not uninvested in that storyline.
No, although Sal did also say that, unless it's a death, they won't have a story. But I'm not invested in Debbie because I love Debbie so much.
You look at like how many exits we've had this year. I can see their point, and I've said this before myself. You can't have an exit story for every character that lasts for weeks because we would never be doing anything else on the show. How many people have left this year?
Plenty.
So, anyway, that was just an aside that I wanted to bring up, and we do know what we're talking about sometimes here.
Occasionally.
So there we go.
Anyway, we're gonna start off with that storyline. I didn't know what to call it. Do we name it after her old surname or a new surname? So choose your poison, listeners. This is either going to be the Jenny Goner story or it's going to be the Brad Quit story. So whichever one. And like I said at the start of the podcast, I'm really, really happy that they credited her as Jenny Bradley. And I didn't even notice. See, the thing, our viewing this week has been a bit skew-if, hasn't it? Because I knew that I was chatting with Sal on Wednesday evening.
This is a whole debacle as well, isn't it?
Yeah. So, but I wanted to watch her final episode before I talked to her.
So Michael has a job that is difficult. You can't just go, I'm taking the afternoon off because I've got to do something.
No.
And so you knew that you wanted to watch the episode or parts of it before the interview. The interview was at 5.
Yeah.
And you needed to get, you got home ridiculously early.
For me, yeah.
For you, and so that you could do this. And I was like, how on earth is this going to even work?
Yeah, so you ended up watching the whole thing in the morning, didn't you? I ended up, before school started, before the kids got in, I was there on my phone just scrolling on YouTube. Thanks, YouTube, for uploading for 7am. And finding the Jenny scenes. So I kind of just watched the Jenny scenes and scrolled past all this stuff with Canal Street. I'll save that till later. So I didn't get the full viewing experience. And yes, and then we got home, did the recording, and we were desperate to get out the interview not too long after the episode aired on ITV as well, didn't we? Almost made it. 9:30 it went out. But anyway, I've kind of found... I think I enjoyed it more the second watch when I watched the whole episode. Scrolling through and just watching one story set of scenes, it's not an ideal viewing experience, which is a bit sad because I see some people saying that they do that sometimes. Whenever this storyline comes on, I fast forward it.
Do you know what I'm going to say? Yes, I find this quite funny. I know lots of Swallow fans do this and they only watch edits. And I remember reading somebody I don't even know if this is somebody who listens to the podcast or wrote in and told us this or what, but somebody said, you know what, I like Spoiler so much that I just started watching Coronation Street and I really like it now. I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't even know that people did that. Okay.
I know, it's funny, isn't it? Converted the other way. Anyway, so I enjoyed it more the second time round. I think also the first time I was like, oh, how are they going to do it? Because I'd seen in the synopses that Jenny was going to use Rita's fall to try and get close to George, and Rita wasn't going to be happy with it. And the synopsis I don't think said any more than that. Obviously, I mean, the other thing we haven't mentioned with this yet is this was even though people knew that Sally Ann had announced that she was leaving and rumours had circulated that she'd finished filming, it hadn't been announced that she was going this week.
No.
And again, that was something that Sal wanted. She wanted it to be really, really mega low-key. That's why she's not done any other interviews.
So far.
So far, yeah. I don't think she will. So I was like, I looked in the synopsis and I didn't know what was going to happen, and I was just like, don't let her leave under a cloud, because the way the synopsis left it felt like it was going the same way as the 1993 return when she asked Rita for the money. Rita says, sod off with that, and then she slings a hook. So I'm glad that it ended in a positive note, but I was kind of on edge watching these scenes thinking, how's it going to be? And then I felt a little bit deflated after watching it because of various reasons, but then watching the whole episode interspersed all of those brilliant Canal Street scenes, I thought it was a really solid episode as a whole, and it works a lot better with Jenny's scenes in it. Yes, it was a really mega quick departure. And we were watching it on Monday, weren't we? Thinking, Jenny's next episode is her last episode, and most viewers, well, nobody really knows. We knew, but most people didn't know that Wednesday was Jenny's last episode. And we're like,
it was not apparent at all.
It was not.
They
you
weren't
would
winding
never
up
have
to
guessed.
it.
No.
We were going, how are they going to wrap this up? I don't understand what's going to happen. It can only be disaster.
Yeah, exactly. And they did it, and it did feel mega rushed. But
Yes.
I'm kind of at a situation with these exit storylines. Sad to say that I've kind of admitted defeat with it, and
you just go,
okay,
whatever.
that's how they do it now. Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
It's not
It
good.
would never happen in
It's
real
not
life. When would her visa run out? But I've kind of made peace with that and think, well, they've gone. So I'm really sad for all the people that watched on Wednesday and had that horrible surprise. If you're a Jenny fan, that she was leaving.
Yeah,
But
if you had to wrap it up in one episode, it was as good as it could be, really.
I think so. We were
But
also.
you shouldn't be doing it in only one episode.
I was worried last week that it's like, is she going to get bumped off? Is she going to be killed off? Is because there was no, even with Yasmin earlier this year, we got 3 episodes maybe, was it, when she's like, oh, I've got a job in London.
It was literally a self-contained like if you missed Wednesday's episode, you would never even know she's gone.
I know. Can you imagine waking up one day just thinking, just going to be another normal day today, and by tea time you're on a plane to a new life in Tenerife. Anyway, right, so we're going to be chatting about that Jenny Gonna /Brad story first. Then we've got the Undertaker Under the Thumb story, and like I said, I loved all the Canal Street stuff. I thought that was absolutely fab, and the Corrie doesn't need to go out on location, but we love it when we did. But it certainly helped that what they did.
Oh, if you put it on the map.
There.
I don't know what the bar was.
Put us on the map yet. No, I need to do a bit of investigating with that. You're right, it does need to go on our Corrie map.
I don't think the outside of that signage was real. I don't think that's real.
All the more exciting for us to investigate. I mean, we have walked down Canal Street before, haven't we? So we must have seen it, and maybe
they let anyone walk down there.
Maybe we will, yeah. So we've got that. We've got the family affair storyline, which is like the of the week. But we did get to see more of Debbie's flat this week, didn't we? More on that later. And then we had some of the smaller stories. We had the Asha crashes storyline, which I'm still sadly not finding that enthusing. Beck from the Dead was a Beck from a short hiatus in today's episode.
What a horrible coat. Again, where's she getting these from?
Coat.
She's stealing them off of dead grandpas or something.
No, I think that she's going around to Billy's soup kitchen and just getting them off the homeless people there. And then speaking of returns, Bethany is back this week.
What has happened to her illustrious journalism career for the third time?
I know, she's just screwed up.
This is the third time she's done this.
It's like... Is it the third? No, Lucy Fallon's got 2 kids now.
No, but she doesn't. Well, she's not planning anymore because I'm going to find it even more difficult to find.
Like
Bethany
she gets
credible.
poached. She's going to be a top magazine / newspaper.
I've won the Carnegie Medal.
Yeah, just going to go off to London 6 months to 8 months later.
Got a Pulitzer Prize.
Screwed up again. Did you know that Bethany was returning this week?
Yeah.
Did you know? I think I only found out about a week ago maybe that she was returning.
It's Swallow fans that did it again, just because Lucy Fallon was posting about being back at Corrie and she accidentally revealed that Amy Cudden was...
Oh yes, she did, didn't she?
...was doing some filming, and she also revealed that something else about it that I'm not going to say.
Yeah, she...
Accidentally.
she this was a few weeks ago, wasn't it? She posted a picture of herself posing in the dressing room, and in the reflection... behind her was Amy Cudden's dressing mirror that said Amy Cudden on, and that's how they gave it away. But did you see that this week that she posted another picture with her hand above in front of the Amy Cudden sign?
I'm going to tell you something about that in a minute, but not when people are listening. Do you know why they have to put their names above the mirrors?
No.
Because if they look in the wrong one, it's a different face.
Oh, is that who says it? Okay. Maybe that's what happens with the face swaps. Nick Tilsley accidentally looked in the wrong mirror one day, and all of a sudden he turned into Adam Rickett, and then he did it again, and it was Ben Price.
Every time they get recast, they have to go smash the mirror, stop it from showing up again.
We have also got a tiny bit of the Oliver Twist story, but not enough to satiate my thirst for knowing what on earth is going on with Ollie and Toya.
Oh no, I love this.
But there was a bit this week, wasn't there?
Oh, I love this. This was one of the things that interested me the most.
What, this week? or just in general? Because there wasn't much
This week. Yeah,
was
it wasn't a lot this week, I'm afraid.
There was something, but yes, there was something kind of interesting with that. I think I know what you mean. Anyway.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll get... Maybe we'll
You
get
know
there.
what I mean, but I don't know what I mean. You have to tell me later what I meant.
I'll tell you what I think you mean. So, the Gemma, I'm going to say ladies first. You can do the final retelling and synopsising of how Jenny came to leave Weatherfield.
Can you believe we're talking about this?
No, I can't.
You know,
I'm remembering back to when she came into it in 2014, and I don't really know much about this Jenny Connor character.
I feel like
sorry, Jenny Bradley character.
I feel like I even remember where we were in our old house when Sal liked a tweet or something. She did something.
No, she replied to a tweet,
and we were like,
about her wig.
This is the most exciting day of our lives.
I know.
And now here we are.
Yeah.
So it's sad because if you've got a favourite character on Corrie, it really is just a matter of time, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, she's gonna be the character of the week this week, isn't she? I think we can give that away. But she's still number one on our most voted for characters of the week, isn't she?
She's gonna start to fall.
She is, because she's right near the top. I know Pat Phelan's near the top as well. He ain't getting any more appearances, is he? And I think Sally's quite close up there, and Evelyn as well, so they may well overtake them. But anyway, let me tell you what happened. What has been going on?
Glenda tells Rita and Jenny that she's going to rig the speed dating so that Jenny gets to have the first crack at George.
Yeah, there's the speed dating. It didn't really live up to last year's speed dating evening, did it?
No, they did have... Was this the one with Kirk and that exasperated woman who was not interested?
Yeah, it was kind of a bit because they had... Who turned up at speed dating?
Everybody who doesn't have a boyfriend or girlfriend.
It was barely nobody. It was Jenny, Brian, George, Kirk,
Leanne should have come,
Christina, and a load of non-speaking extras. So they had Kirk doing his "I'm such an idiot" kind of lines, and everybody he talked to didn't have anything to say because they didn't pay the actors enough. I don't know. So it felt more low key, but I suppose it wasn't focused on the speed dating night. That was just the catalyst for what happened next.
Let me tell you. At the Undertaker's, Christina is still cleaning away and George is saying, "Oh, you're doing such a great job." Then she starts chatting and they realise that they both have a friend in common who was going to set them up for a blind date back in the day. But George left her waiting and he's like, "Oh, I would never have known. I would never have stood you up if I knew what I was been missing." And then they start talking about the speed dating and you can tell that they both want to use this as an excuse to get together.
Every week that goes past, I just want Amy Robbins to stay even more.
I know, I love her.
She's not only is she amazing, not only is Christina absolutely a wonderful breath of fresh air for Coronation Street and just what the show needs.
She is the perfect Corrie character.
She's the perfect Corrie character, but also she and George have got great chemistry.
For the first time, they got George with a woman who really fits.
Totally. I mean, I don't think I realised how... I mean, not necessarily unsuited, but just how ambivalent I was towards George and Eileen. And sometimes you feel like the characters just get pushed together because, well, why not? I'm still kind of feeling that with Ronnie and Debbie, to be honest. And when George and Eileen split up this year, and Eileen was like, "Oh, maybe, she did the whole like Happy's doing, I'm not in love with you anymore." But I don't think many people were going, "Oh no, they were a classic Corrie couple." But George and Christina, he suddenly got this new lease of life, and I've always quite liked George. But this week I'm loving him and he just feels so relaxed, and the pair of them, the actors, bounce off each other so well, don't they? The little routine, the little skit they were doing today in the bistro where with the cowboy and he was like pretending to tip his cowboy hat and she was it's just
they bring out the best of each other.
They really do.
But I don't know who she could be in a scene with that would fall flat, to be honest with you. She's like Glenda. They're both so like bombastic. I just love them. They're magnetic.
Yeah, I mean that's another thing that sadly detracted from Jenny's story a little bit, because Jenny's been kind of made to be a bit like the third wheel, not necessarily the bad guy, but
she was like, sticking her oar in. Nobody was. And she admitted.
Were they was anybody rooting for Jenny and George to get together?
Jenny admitted.
Out of the people who didn't know that Sally Ann Matthews was leaving, of course.
Jenny admitted that she wasn't really that into him.
Yeah.
I'm glad that they put that in because it did feel like, hey, well, let's get on with it. So everyone's there for the speed dating, like you said. Brian, Kurt, Tracy's spectating, Jenny, George, Christina.
Tracy's there just to be ghoulish, isn't she? But I'm sure she'd have had a crack at Brad Pitt if he turned up.
Yes. Jenny gets a phone call, because that's the name of the story.
Pitt, yeah.
Jenny gets a phone call from Rita, ignores it, and then she gets drawn for her and George, but then the phone rings again and she answers it and she's oh gosh, Rita's had a fall, so she has to rush off.
That was Sally Ann Matthews' final scene that she filmed as Jenny.
Aww.
Last one, and that was, again, I mean, we've mentioned it on the other podcast, but if you didn't listen to it, especially the audio episode possibly, when we went to Coronation Street back in, when was it, mid to early July, 11th of July I think it was, that we knew that was going to be Sally Ann Matthews' final filming day, so we literally went there to say goodbye to her at the gates. So that picture of me standing underneath the Coronation Street sign with Sal, that was after she'd finished filming, and she came out and she said hello to us, and we had a lovely old time sitting together. And then we saw her later again that evening when she came back with Vito, didn't she?
Yeah,
with her dog,
we got to see Vito,
who also made an appearance on the podcast this week.
I love that dog.
And so that was her final day's filming, and that's why that photo is particularly special to us, because it was it marked the end of an era, and she'd just been filming, getting a phone call from Rita in the cabin. She didn't tell me anything. She didn't say to us anything about the exit. She said, "I'm happy with the exit." She told us that. But I kind of said to her at one point, "You got a scene with Barbara?" And she's like, "Yeah, I have. I've got one of those." Something that I really wish that we could have had was one more little interaction between Jenny and Dirk.
I know.
That would have been fab if they put that in, because Sally Ann Matthews is real close friends with Adam Blease, who plays Dirk from The Factory, Silent Dirk, and over the past 5 years or so they've had like 2 or 3 scenes maybe, haven't they? Because there was the one earlier this year when he was like, what did he say?
I don't know.
He was there at the bar, and he got a line, didn't he? Like, I was mortified, or something like that. And there was another one for, I think it was at the Jubilee. Jenny was like saying, all right, Dirk, pipe down. And then she carries on with the scene. I just would have loved a little moment.
Wasn't
like
it Sal that named the character Dirk?
Oh, I can't remember whether that was the story. It might have been, actually. I'm not sure. But anyway, I would have liked that, but you can't have everything.
You can't just keep asking for things.
Maybe they could, they couldn't have had a eloping off with, or sloping off with Daisy, but maybe they could have had Jenny going off with Dirk.
I know.
And then it didn't work out, so Dirk had to come back to Underworld.
Right, so Jenny's telling Rita, don't feel bad about calling me away, and Rita's like, I feel like a fool. There's only a little trip, and Jenny says, well, the dating wasn't great. It just made me feel bad about myself. I'm in my 50s, living with a nonagenarian. What's that? Nonagenarian.
Nonagenarian. Yeah, somebody in her 90s.
Working in a corner shop, but I'm not being ungrateful or anything, but this is not really how I envisioned my life.
This was maybe the beginnings of them trying to sow the seeds to say, yeah, she will disappear off the next episode, and she's been longing for it for all of 24 hours. If
you're an alien and you learned about human culture from Coronation Street, then you tried to infiltrate real life, how hard would it be? Be like, I'm sick of my life. Oh, don't leave.
Maybe they do, and that's why they just keep beaming people up and driving off with them, because it's like, nobody will notice. It's just normal.
You said you were bored.
One day they're here, the next they're not.
You said you were bored, and you wondered what it was like in Tenerife, so we've beamed you to the spaceship. Now we're going to suck out your brains through your belly button.
Do you buy the idea that Jenny was bored living in Weatherfield and wanted to try something new? I think they sold it to me, even though I totally don't think that the timescale worked for me. I do kind of get that Jenny might have wanted to... She knows that she's still got time to reinvent herself, and she didn't want to stay unscrewing sweets and weighing out bonbons in the cabin. I kind of get that, because she is a kind of free spirit, and she's a bit of a naughty minx, and I like how she's kind of flown off to have a better future, I suppose.
So, speed dating evening is not really going that well, even with the people who've been paired up. You've got George and Tracy, you've got Christina and Brian, you've got Kirk and this infuriated woman. And then finally, Christina and George get matched up, but he's still worried about Rita. And so Christina goes, look, go and see how she is if you're really that worried about it. And so Jenny goes outside and she's sweeping the floor and she's crying. I don't know why she's crying. Is she crying because she hates her life?
I think that was a I'm feeling sorry for myself weep, yeah.
So George comes along and he's got this bunch of flowers for Rita, and she says, oh gosh, we've just come back from the hospital and it's really bad. And George is like, oh no, that's terrible, and gives Jenny a hug, and Christina leaves the Rovers and sees this happening. So this gets, Jenny gets what she wants, which is a little bit of attention.
Yeah, I didn't really like that they did that to Jenny. They didn't turn her into anything close to a villain, but I wish they hadn't made her quite so manipulative. And I know that Jenny doesn't always do the right thing. I get that she makes mistakes. I get that she can be a bit manipulative, but I was finishing Monday's episode thinking, gosh, she's leaving the next episode and she's a bit under a cloud at the moment because she's lying.
One of the things I was worried about was that she and Rita were going to fall out, and she was going to go off the same way that she went off before when she tried to get money off Rita.
Yeah.
And also how Rita sent off Bet with a flea in her ear. Like, Rita's really good at burning bridges.
I know.
And, like, telling people to sing
I
lyrics.
bet she hasn't been sent a Christmas card to Sharon.
No.
Since she sloped off the last time either.
Definitely not. So I was thinking, oh God, I really hope that she doesn't get kicked out by Rita for lying.
Yeah. I just going into Wednesdays, I wanted her to have a happy exit and a positive one, and thank goodness they did it.
Yes, so Mary is telling Jenny...
We're on Wednesday now.
Wednesday, sorry. Rita's upstairs because she's hurt her leg, and Mary's saying to Jenny, look, Rita's coming downstairs. And they're like, oh no, she should probably stay upstairs because, she's got her shadow full.
I was a bit confused about what had happened, because I thought that when Jenny was telling George, oh, she would come back to the hospital, it's bad, I thought that she was making the whole thing up and they hadn't even been to hospital at all. But what was it? She had a sprain. It was... Well, Rita tells George later it's a 3 out of 10 in seriousness and severity. But yeah, so they had been to hospital, but it's fine. And they're just saying, well, she needs to rest her feet up there.
She doesn't honestly need to do anything. She's not helpful at all.
No.
So George comes in and he's got this tub of mulligatawny soup.
Mulligatawny.
I've never had it in my life.
And
it's just a funny word, isn't it?
It doesn't have an appealing name.
I think it
sounds like
exciting.
slop.
Oh.
Wait, what is it? Is it
It's like a curry soup.
It's a curry soup, yeah.
It's a very traditional kind of like... it is Indian in origin, but it's like a British kind of like... upper crust thing, I had this when I was in charge of India. We used to have this for breakfast.
Yeah, I've got no hankering to try.
What's the other thing that
soup?
The rice thing for breakfast with fish.
I don't.
Kejagri.
Oh,
it's kind of like that kind of thing.
Okay. George starts...
It's not like that. It's just the genre of food of like stuff we took from India.
That was a bit odd, because he kind of comes in and he's saying, "Oh, I was gonna say her a poem, and oh, Rita, well, your heart's still a beating."
No, I didn't like that.
I didn't like that. And on the whole, I thought the script was good for this episode. It was Debbie Oates who did that one, but George coming in doing his poetry,
script.
I didn't think that was needed.
It didn't work
for me.
Anyway. She wants to give her this soup in person, and Jenny's like panicking because Mary could like find out that she's been embellishing Rita's ailments, and everyone could get her in trouble. And also Rita's coming down, and as soon as she comes down, George will ask her. So she hurries him outside, and she's about to tell him the truth when Christina appears, and so she backs out of it, and she says, "Look, don't tell her. Don't even talk to Rita about this, because she doesn't want anyone to know. Like, I shouldn't have even told you." And she gives him another big hug.
Yeah, she's just kind of draping herself over him.
Because Christina's there. And Christina's like, oh, is that a voucher? Free cuddle with every gazette. And Jenny's still very smug because Christina has obviously got to her. So George then tells Brian in the cafe that they should start cooking for Rita and, bringing her food and things. And Brian's like, that's a bit of an overreaction, isn't it? It's just a torn ligament. What does she need food for? And he realises... but he's been lied to. Rita gives Jenny an envelope full of cash so she can take George out on a fancy date.
I love that. She's like, what did you call it? You can still give you an edge over Christina, so I guess it was a bit of an edge fund, wasn't it?
Jenny's like, oh no, I couldn't. And she's like, just take it, please. I've got so much money, I don't know what to do with it. That Christina is a schemer, you know. You need some kind of special secret weapon.
Everybody's saying it. And Glenda is out to get Christina, isn't she?
I do like the fact that she hates her.
I like it as well, but equally, I'm still thinking, no, don't be a schemer, be genuine. She's been back, what, 3-4 weeks now?
She hasn't done anything wrong yet.
She's not done
but
anything
it could
to
be a
lead
long
me
con.
to think that she's not being 100% genuine with George. I'm going to be so sad, and my heart's going to be broken if it turns out that she's stringing him along just to get her hands on the shuttle worth millions.
I think Glenda versus Christina is the new Daisy versus Bethany.
Well, yeah, maybe it is, yeah. It's a lot of fun. Two great campy characters at each other's throats. Great stuff.
So, George comes in and asks Rita, like, how are you? Like, he realises he's been fibbed to, and he asks her to tell him straight how bad is it on a scale of 1 to terminally ill. And Rita's like, hang on a minute, why are you asking me this? So in the back of the cabin, Jenny's trying to explain. It's just Rita and Jenny, and she's saying,
this is a nice
oh,
scene.
you know, sorry, I just let him assume that you were going to die. And she says, I'm a sad, lonely fool, and he made me feel seen and cared about. I used to know who I was, pulling pints, sparring with Daisy. I knew everyone's tipple. I could stop a fight from brewing. I knew what number Total Eclipse of the Heart was on the jukebox. And life is too short to be weighing out bonbons. And Rita says, okay, look, what do you want out of life? Because if it's George, I think the first place to start is to apologise to him. And she says, you know what? I'm not even sure I even want him. I think I'd get bored and try and change him. It's only because Christina's after him, really. And Rita says that is not a really good reason to try to go out with somebody. You should go and apologise. So she goes round to the Undertakers to say sorry to George. And George is really upset about this, going, oh, you know, Rita probably thought I was touting for business like a ghoul. That was really bad. Like, and he gets mad and leaves, and, you know, goes off in a huff into the chapel arrest, leaving Jenny there. And she picks up an order of service for somebody who is very similar in age to her, and she gets lost in thought. So when George comes back out again, there's Jenny sitting around all maudlin with this booklet, pondering, what would I do if this was the last year on Earth? Well, I wouldn't be this person who does stupid, unkind things, she says. And George says, stop feeling sorry for yourself. And then Jenny brings up Bet, which was probably why this was in the script.
Yeah, it's quite interesting. They couldn't have cut this out, could they? There
was no reason to cut this out, really.
But it was kind of funny because there wasn't a whole lot of overlap between Bet in the Rovers and Jenny.
She was only working as her barmaid for a couple of weeks, I think, or something like that.
Yeah, it was. So it was, you know, would it have been in character for her to have mentioned her? I don't know. Was she that inspirational? I kind of like how she was brought up. But it would have felt a bit more genuine if it was someone that we knew had a bit more history with her.
It felt like a bit meta and a bit like because she's important to the viewers.
Yes, that was exactly it. Well, that was like when, again, I hope that Debbie Oakes, not that she's listening, hope that Debbie Oakes would take some criticism, but
Why
I didn't.
Are you critiquing somebody?
Well, because that's what the podcast's for.
I know,
it's
but we don't normally name people.
Debbie Oakes is a highly respected and very capable and amazing Corrie writer.
What you think.
I know, but the line where Jenny says, oh, I was given the job by Bet Lynch. Oh, I'll get Bet Gilroy as she was then. That felt a little bit like a nod to the fans as well. To say
it did feel a bit like somebody going, I know what she used to be called.
Yeah, it was like
I think it also
George
felt like
okay.
They were preempting somebody writing in and going, why was Jenny referring to her as... They can't win.
Yeah, it'd be like me saying, oh, you know, when I was 30 years ago, I had a teacher called Mrs. Smith. Well, Mrs. Jones, as she was then. Like, Okay.
Well, that does sound normal, actually.
I don't know her, but anyway, sorry, I don't. Let's not hang on.
Debbie
that,
Oates had some fantastic lines in this.
Oh yes, it was great. It was
Yeah, she
great,
had some
but
really
that
great
particular line felt a bit clunky to me.
Well, you can take that with her.
Okay,
I thought she was
will.
great. George says, "Look, stop feeling sorry for yourself." This is when Jenny says, "Oh, I worked for Bet. You know, she was the queen bee. World, it was all hers. I watched her with envy. You know, her confidence, her presence." And it is interesting because in many ways it did feel a bit like Jenny was kind of inheriting that. But every single we just did actually a top 5 proprietors of the Rovers Return for our Patreon, so please do listen to that. But it does feel that everyone's unique. Each of the people are unique. Nobody's a carbon copy of anybody else.
No.
But
Jenny and Bet shared some traits.
yeah, definitely.
I mean, the fact that Jenny had her throne in the back of the pub, and then Bet didn't have that, but she was Queen Bee.
One of the things that's really important in a Rovers landlord or landlady is that they have a deep desire to make the Rovers theirs, and they want the pub, and it's more than just managing it. It's like they know that this is the top job of Coronation Street, the programme.
Bet 100% had that, and because she'd been living in, she inherited it from Annie Walker, who she had this deep respect for.
Yeah. It's not the same at all. Jenny and Bet, that it was with Annie and Bet.
No.
That's why Stella was crap as well, because she didn't actually care about the Rovers, did she? Right, so she says she's still got the nameplate. Jennifer Connor, licensed to sell intoxicating liquor, or whatever it says, is under her bed. And George says, you built yourself up for nothing. You can do it again.
Jenny said that was kind of... what would she say? Having the pub was...
I don't know.
Being a bit sad and saying and clinging on to the past and saying that's a bit rubbish, isn't it? That I'm holding that, but I'd probably want to keep that. I wouldn't anybody.
Also, I guess you would keep it if you knew that you were the landlady of the Rovers and that was the best job in Coronation Street. I don't know if you would in real life.
No, that's a really good point, actually.
And also George is like, you built yourself up for nothing, you can do it again. Actually, George, like a lot of the women, sadly, on this Coronation Street, she got her position in the world because she had a rich husband.
Yes.
I'm sad to say that is a story.
Well, it doesn't matter. It's on her CV now. It's going to help her get a job in Tenerife.
This is why Bethany can't do anything, because she hasn't got a hunky, sexy, rich
she's
husband.
She's not going to get anything by name dropping Nathan Curtis, is she?
She needs to marry old Stefan Brent.
Yeah. If that's how you get a leg up in the publishing industry.
That's how she becomes the next Anna Wintour. So, yes, she says, maybe I'll go to visit my mate in Tenerife, but she'll just try and make me stay and say, you can all those bars you could run them better than the people, and I couldn't do it again. And George says, no, well, would that be such a bad thing? Why don't you go? And Jenny says, I couldn't do that to Rita.
Soon changes her mind.
Well, George goes to Rita and says, clearly Jenny is not happy, and it's your fault because you're a burden. You need to let her go, basically. So then Christina sees Jenny and winds her up.
I'm so thrilled we had this scene.
They're walking past each other in the street, aren't they?
Yeah. What I wanted more than... One of my biggest fears, I had lots of fears about how Jenny's exit would be handled. But one of them was that Christina would leave on top, and that she would be responsible for Jenny being shamed out of Weatherfield, and Christina would have the last laugh. I had serious, deep worries that they might do this, because when we went to Coronation Street back in July, we saw Amy Robbins, didn't we? We didn't speak to her, but we saw her coming through Media City.
One of your biggest regrets.
I regret that I didn't say hello to her. But we knew that this was Jenny's exit week that they were filming, so that told us, right, okay, they brought Christina back for Jenny's exit. What's going to play out there? And I thought, if Christina gets the last laugh, as much as I love Christina, that would not sit right to me. So putting this scene in, just to give Jenny that one final smirk and the little put down, Perfect.
Yeah, well, Jenny's like, I'm above this now. I'm not going to wind you up. Not anymore. Also, your knickers are stuck in your skirt's stuck in your knickers,
and that was the last time she saw her, wasn't it? And I think she didn't get a goodbye with George. There were lots of people that she didn't get a goodbye to. I think I'm a bit regretful of that. That literally every other character, the only person that knew that she was leaving was Rita.
It's almost like it was a figment of Rita's imagination, and she's lying at the bottom of a staircase, having just fallen and hit her head. Well, and she's dreaming.
Maybe everything since 2010 has just been Rita's tram crash concussion.
Probably.
But I don't know. Is there anybody?
2010?
Yeah. The tram crash.
Rita's?
Yes. Rita's. The tram crash in 2010.
Oh, the tram crash. I thought you meant
Alan Bradley's tram. No.
I was like, that was
the very
2010?
Who would Jenny have said
like
goodbye to? Who? What?
I don't know.
Who would Jenny have said goodbye to? Because she didn't have...
1986.
She didn't have loads.
No, she didn't have loads of friends. No.
I think
Daisy's gone.
Daisy's gone. I think a scene between
dead.
Jenny and Gemma.
Carla's madder.
Jenny and Gemma probably would have been good. I mean, watching Friday's episode, maybe just nobody's told Gemma yet because she was loving life, wasn't she, in the Rovers today? But I don't know, maybe like saying goodbye to Kevin or. But she's barely done anything with Kevin for 8 or 9 years.
Gemma's grasped object permanence.
Or Sally. But the fact that Jenny was Rover's landlady, even if we didn't see these scenes of her in the Rovers, does mean that she's a bit of a central figure in the community. So, yeah, I feel like it would be nice if we had seen a few more goodbyes.
Yeah, well, you didn't get it. So
sorry.
So Rita then sees Jenny she goes into the corner shop, and she gives her the money back, and she says, "No, Rita, I've decided I'm not going to pursue George. Thanks for the money anyway." And she says, "No, these aren't for that. This is for a ticket for a one-way flight to Tenerife. I will be fine. Please go. Please live your life. Do what you want to do." And Jenny's like, "Oh, I don't know." Oh. And Rita's like, "Look, just think about it. I'm going to go to the pub and raise a glass." So, the next time they meet, Jenny's already packed a case.
I know, packs light. That's how you do it in Weatherfield, isn't it? A couple of cases. Not even a big... No, we had got a bigger case than that just for a weekend in Manchester.
I know we do,
let alone
actually.
Starting our life again.
She doesn't even like taking her J&J penguins or anything.
No. Maybe she's getting them shipped over
Maybe
later.
I would have liked to have seen her rolling that marble table down the road. Going, I'm having this.
Yeah, I think that probably exceeds the aeroplane luggage allowance.
If you put that in the plane, it'll go... Anyway, so she's packed and she's ready to go. And Rita says, she's got her plaque as well, the Jenny Connor licensee plaque. And Rita says, "You're going to find another pub to hang it over." And she says, no, this was Jenny Connor's gaff. The next will be Jenny Bradley's. Because if there's one thing I know about her, is that she can show up at a place and make things happen. Now, that was a good line.
That was a good line. And just the mention of Jenny Bradley again was a bit of a
that
shiver down the spine moment. I remember when she married Johnny. And we were like, are they going to have her change her surname? Because there's something about the name Jenny Bradley that's iconic.
It's got a really good...
Yeah.
Something about it, isn't there?
I mean, lots of Corrie names, you think, well, you couldn't change that. And there are a lot... But there's something about Jenny Connor's like, well, you can't change that. And they did. And she's been Jenny Connor for... 8 years now, maybe? I don't even know, but it's so lovely to have her call herself Jenny Bradley. And Christina's been calling her Jenny Bradley as well, hasn't she? Because she was the woman that wrecked her marriage when she was Jenny Bradley. And now she's kind of...
owning it.
Yeah, she's owning it. She's owning the name that has got a bit more zing to it.
Yeah, it does.
And, it doesn't mean that she doesn't care about Johnny anymore. I mean, she shacked up with Leo and Stephen Reed not that long after Johnny died anyway, did she? But I think it's a bit of a I'm not gone yet. I mean, what is it? Amanda Barry's autobiography is called "I'm Not Gone Yet" or "I'm Not Dead Yet" or something like that, isn't it? And I think this is Jenny's moment. Like, I've still got a whole lot of life in me.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be back to the
my birth name.
Yeah, and the name where I first stepped foot into the big wide world, and had all these adventures off screen when I wasn't in Coronation
But also,
Street.
like, the name You Knew Me First as in Coronation Street, it's like she's starting again.
Yeah.
And she's going to do Coronation Street in another place.
She's a bit... I know Wendy Flaming Crozier all flows together, but I kind of think that Jenny Flamin Bradley is a bit less of a thing, but it's still very much a thing, isn't it?
Yeah. I like it. I like her going back to Jenny Bradley.
I've just checked Coropedia and they haven't updated her name yet. So come on, guys, get on it, please.
Jenny. Also, Coronation Street knows the power of a woman's surname because they made Pat. What's her name?
Elsie
Tanner marry Mr. Tanner just so they could keep her name because it was so iconic.
Yeah.
Elsie Tanner.
We should have checked the credits tonight actually to see whether Bernie. Whether she had her name like officially changed now. Is
she changing it? Is she
I thought that she was double barreling it, but I don't know whether she's been double barreled ever since.
Bernie Winter Allahan or Bernie Allahan Winter. I think she'll be Winter Allahan.
Yeah.
She did call herself the other day Bernie Winter, just Bernie Winter to that.
Yeah, she did. She did, didn't she? But you had characters like Michelle Connor stayed a Connor when she married.
Yeah, she's not called blimmin' Windass, is she?
No, that's Maria.
Maria, yeah. Who are you talking about?
Michelle. I said Michelle.
Oh, I heard M. Connor.
No, Maria definitely didn't change.
No, I wouldn't change her name to
There's something about the
Windass.
strength of a Connor name in Coronation Street.
Well, she's changed from Connor.
And Jenny's kind of made the split from it, hasn't she? She's like, I'm not part of that clan anymore. Johnny's still important to me. He's still got a place in my heart, but I'm a Bradley.
I'm sorry, but I'm not convinced by the Connors. Still, they're still newbies to me. I'm not super into the Connors,
despite being on the show for 20 years.
None of them seem to actually be blood Connors that are left.
No,
I mean, I know Carla technically ended up being a blood Connor by accident.
Oh yeah, she did, didn't she?
Right. Anyway, so she's Jenny. She's now Jenny Bradley, and she's gonna make things happen. And then they give each other a cuddle, and Rita gets a bag of bonbons out of her pocket, and I don't know if this was like purposefully done or just because Barbara Knox has got tissues in her pocket, but she pulls out a tissue at the same time. I'm like, that is such a Rita thing to do. Like, it's a snotty tissue and some bonbons.
Barbara Knox is great in these scenes.
Yeah, she was. Yeah,
and I've been thinking or saying, I don't know, for a long time that Rita has not been used loads. She's not been given the best stuff to do, has she? They kind of sometimes say, off you go, Barbara, into the Rovers, go and say a few lines of see you again in 6 months. Yeah. But this was really heartfelt and lovely, and there was nobody else that they could have given Jenny her final scenes with than Rita, the woman who first fostered her, brought her into the street back in 1986. It was lovely. And when Jenny comes into the Rovers for that next scene, and Rita's just looking so sad, isn't she?
Oh, well, let me tell you, because Jenny says, if you ever need me, and Rita's like, don't say that, Jenny, I'm going to be all right. And the next time you see her, she looks like she's...
I know! I've never seen anybody look as sad as that.
Dejection.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose Kevin, she looks a little bit like how Kevin's been this year, but it was a great performance by her.
So she's there devastated. In the pub, Rita is with a glass. I think Brian's yakking about something. And Jenny comes in with her bags, like she's going to have a drink. And then Total Eclipse of the Heart starts playing. And Wednesday's episode was really there was lots of great tracks. Like they played Tainted Love when it was Todd and Theo's final scene.
There was a really good... Sometimes you have the occasional background music track on Corrie that go, but Wednesday was full of them.
Yeah, it was.
I found it a little bit cheesy, maybe having the Total Eclipse of the Heart playing as she went, but fine, whatever.
Well, the lyrics, fit anyway. So she looks around, she smiles. This would have been when she saw Bette Lynch, but she doesn't see her. She just sees Rita raising a glass to her and cheering up. Honestly, if I'd been Jenny and I'd walked in there and seen Rita like that, I wouldn't have left her ever.
I know. She's fine. She's with Brian.
She's fine. She's got a vodka upset because she hates Brian.
We rewatched after we did the interview with Sal. We rewatched that final scene to see if they'd left any kind of clues any remnants of the fact that she'd seen Bette, and you couldn't tell whatsoever, could you?
So she just goes, right, I'm off then, and goes back outside. She pats the Rovers sign, the ceramic tiles. Yeah. Then she goes to the corner. There's a load of rubbish on the floor. which I assume was David.
I said
Or is
to
it
you yesterday
Betsy?
what she should have done, and it would have been rubbish, but it would have been kind of funny, is if she'd taken that sign and put it in David's bin.
That would have been hilarious. But she would have been going the wrong way.
And she would have been going the wrong way, and it would have been a laugh rather than a moment of triumph that it was supposed to be, but that would have been quite funny.
It would have been funny. Anyway, she jumps it and she walks off towards the tram stop in triumph.
Yeah.
Because she doesn't want one of those taxi exits. And also Eileen used up the taxi budget when she left.
It was... What did you think about her dumping the sign? I didn't
really
like
no.
that. Because it's, yes, you're saying, you know, turning another page in your life, it's the end of one chapter and the beginning of another. But that sign was something special to her.
Yeah,
and the Rovers was the world to her. You
can move on without rejecting your past.
Yeah, I wish they hadn't done that, to be honest. But hey, what are you going to do?
Do you know what would have been better?
What?
If she had dumped the sign and then she'd picked it up and taken it.
Yes, actually. That would have been good. Like, no,
I'm still going to be me, but I'm going to be someone better. You know, like I'm not Jenny Connor, but I'm also Jenny Bradley.
Yeah, that would have been perfect, actually. But
everyone's got a different opinion.
I did like how they had her kind of walk in there into the camera. She had the smile on her face, the look of triumph. That's kind of what I wanted.
She looked satisfied with herself.
She looked satisfied. I also want to point out, as well as having some fantastic music on Wednesday's episode, the costume choice for Jenny at the end. Oh yes, because she'd really kind of done herself up to have that exit scene.
She was beautified.
She very much was. She was just kind of standard level beautiful Jenny, which is still pretty good for most of the episode, but you could tell that scene with Rita when she was saying goodbye, her hair was all zhuzhed up, but black, what was it, a black jackety thing over the top of a red blouse.
A red blouse that had a slit, didn't it? Like a very narrow V slit.
Yeah. And I straight away when I saw that, I was like, hang on a minute. I think that's what she wore the first time we saw her back in 2014. And I looked back at the pictures of it and I was right. So Jenny's return to the show 11 years ago was when Kevin was doing online dating, and then he got matched up with a blind date with Jenny Bradley. And Jenny turns around and she's in pretty much that exact same outfit. So to bookend this 11-year return with a pretty identical look, that can't be a coincidence, can it? I thought...
it's impossible.
It can't be a coincidence, and yet how many people would have picked it up? I don't know. But I very much appreciated that. It was like, I came in as Jenny Bradley. This is my Jenny Bradley outfit, and I'm going off as the Jenny Bradley outfit. And I'm sure she's worn it at some point in between, but it doesn't matter. Do you remember that top that Jenny used to have that looked like it was half tucked in? It was like a red and white dress. Do you remember that one?
I don't know what you're talking about.
It looked like it had a little flap tucked into her waistband, but I haven't seen.
It's probably it probably doesn't look anything like that, to be honest with you.
It definitely does.
Is this part of the story really, or
that was the end of Jenny's exit? I mean, we had the story continued in some fashion on Friday with George and Christina, but that was the end of our lovely Jenny. It's gonna be. Is it going to be weird? Are we going to notice?
The thing is, she's been so rarely seen in the show since she stopped working at the Rovers that it doesn't feel like... it's hard because I missed her when she wasn't in the Rovers, and it feels like that was when she left for me.
Yeah.
And so when she kept popping up in the cabin and stuff, it was nice, but...
we knew that it was, leading towards the exit. There's so many good characters still on Coronation Street that we always say, it's still going to be good. You can lose this character, lose that character. There's still a decent cast left there. But thinking back to just how many people have gone this year, you could watch an episode from January and it's like, God, you had Yasmin, you had Daisy, you had Craig, you had Eileen,
Gail had only just gone.
Okay, yeah, exactly. And I kind of do, although I'm not watching episodes kind of hankering for Daisy to be back, it's one of these things that does add up. And
it does, yeah.
It's sad to think
Death by 1,000 cuts, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Right.
By 1,000 axings, or not. But it's sad to think that we won't see Jenny on, and I definitely get the impression that will be the last we'll see of Jenny.
I really think that we will not see her again.
But
I would be so happy to be proven wrong.
But I mean, everyone's kind of thinking, you know, when the time comes to say goodbye to Rita, will Jenny come back then
as a ghost?
And I think, you know, if Rita dies on screen and she has a funeral,
oh my
God. I know, I'm just, you know, being practical about it. Would it be odd for Jenny not to come back for that?
Oh man!
Because, you know, if they bring back Sharon for Rita's funeral, but
what
they
are
don't
you
bring
planning this
back
poor
Jenny.
woman's funeral? She's just got a torn ligament.
These are the kind of things you have to think about.
Unless she dies of food poisoning because of that soup.
But it makes me think: when are they going to have Rita go off to live with Jenny?
Yeah,
rather than kill her off and have people say, "Why hasn't Jenny come to her funeral?"
It really depends. Yeah, I think that legacy characters like Rita, legacy actors like William Roach and Barbara Knox will be able to pick what story they want and how they want to go.
Yeah.
And they will be one of the very few people who get to dictate, you know, I'm going at this and doing that. Because like Eileen Derbyshire, who plays Emily, she said, I just want to go, you know, don't make a big fuss, just let me go. And so she's gone to live on Auntie Pam's farm. Yeah,
she's up in Scotland now, isn't she, apparently?
And maybe that's where...
Maybe that's what will happen to Rita, because it does feel a bit funny sometimes when, you know, if an actor passes away and then you have this kind of awkward period of them still technically being in the show but not
like,
seen, and then suddenly somebody comes and said, "Oh, Betty's died." I don't think I'd want that for Rita.
It's not. We're not talking about Rita. You're being morbid. You are.
Oh, fine, okay.
Right. I know what you're saying. It just seems a bit out of pocket.
Oh,
so Friday, Brian's a bit peeved because Jenny's gone and he's got work to do, and Christina doesn't want a part-time job at their cabin, and neither does Jake.
Oh yeah. We won't be forgiven for anybody who has to pause before saying that character's name. But I did thought it was quite funny. I had a bit of a chuckle when a character named him in today's episode.
Hi, is that Jake Windass there?
Hello, Jake Windass.
Gary's
might change
son.
your actor, but we are going to mention you because there's
no
probably
one
a lot
knows
of people
who
who knows who you are. Yeah.
Right, so Glenda tells Brian that he needs to drop Christina because she doesn't like him, and she makes this whole list of pros and cons. And Christina's reading it. Glenda reads it out, and Christina walks in on them and starts reading the list out loud. And George is like, "Look, guys, you two, can you stop tearing each other's eyes out and being mad at each other?"
That list was funny. I like.
What did she say?
The point where she'd eat herself if she was made of chocolate.
Yeah.
I think we all would, wouldn't we? To be fair.
I don't. Well, anyway.
You're not
no,
a big
because I'd die,
eater.
wouldn't I?
Well, you could nibble a finger.
I think the idea is that you would be you're so intoxicated with yourself, you'd eat yourself, knowing that it would lead to your own destruction. Isn't that the joke? I think I'm too smart for that.
I'd try and give my elbow a lick.
Well, how would I think if I had a brain of chocolate?
Good point.
If you start thinking too hard, you'll melt.
This is why they didn't have a character in The Wizard of Oz, the Chocolate Man, because it would just be too nonsensical, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Right, so George and Christina end up in the bistro, and he tells her he's absolutely crackers about her and that she should let him take her out, and says, "I'm ready to get back on the horse." And then she says, hold your horses, you're going to have to do a lot of heavy duty wooing to get this filly. Or something.
It was. And then that's when he tips his cowboy hat and he's like, "Okay, ma'am."
Yeah.
I loved it. I really, really loved it. I don't want her to be... I want him to be happy.
What is she up to? Is she up to
anything?
Nothing.
Please.
Why is she still in the show?
How long is she going to be in
stay?
the show? Because I was always... Because we'd seen, as many people had, I'm sure, press pictures of Amy Robbins filming at Canal Street. So when she came back, I was thinking, well, at least we know that she's still going to be in it for a little while for this Canal Street.
We know she'll be in it.
And now, who knows?
It's uncharted territory.
Oh gosh, they've got to keep her. They've got to keep her. But I just get the feeling that they won't.
I think she's got other things to do.
I think Amy Robbins is a very busy and much sought after woman, but so is Maureen Lipman.
Jodie Prenger as well.
Jodie Prenger isn't she? And we've kept hold of her for a good few years now, so...
Anyway.
Let Amy Robbins stay and then just go off and do other things every now and then if she wants to, because it's going to be a real loss for Corrie if we have to say goodbye to her.
Can you start reading this? And I need to go and get the cat, because I don't know if you can hear, I don't know if it's being picked up on the microphone, but she is bashing that door down. Can you hear her?
She wants to come and see us, okay.
Yeah.
She wants to be part of episode 700, but you go and get the cat, and I'm going to start off the Todd story, which... It's finally, and maybe I've said this on the podcast before, I don't know, it's finally got to a stage where I'm really enjoying it and invested in it. And I know that there were scenes earlier on in the year where I'm like, oh God, not the Theo and Todd story again. But it's really turned a corner now. I'm loving it. And it's just lovely, deliciously dark. And there was some great twists that came out on Wednesday's episode with those Canal Street scenes. So on Monday, we have Theo at the beginning of the episode telling Todd that he's booked the afternoon off to do some redecorating. Sadly, Todd can't because he's helping out at the soup kitchen at the community centre with Billy. Actually, maybe I did find this bit of the story a bit dull on Monday. Maybe it was Wednesday when it picked up, I don't know. Theo's trying to guilt trip him about it a little bit, but Todd says, no, look, I'll give you a hand in the bedroom the next time you need it. And that sounds a little bit rude now, and I can't remember. Gemma's back and she's hearing about Todd giving Theo a hand in the bedroom. Decorating we're talking about here, Gemma. You didn't find the cat?
No, she's not interested now.
Oh, well, okay. She just wanted to come in and talk about Jenny, and we've moved on from that. Yeah. So Theo, they're at the community centre later, which is now a soup kitchen, and Theo pops up to say, oh, I'm going to help out, because obviously he's not enjoying Todd and Billy spending all this time together. So he really just wants to go there to keep them in check.
I know I keep saying this,
get
but
some ammunition.
Really, Todd has found so many more reasons than he normally would have to hang around Billy. Since Theo said, I don't like you hanging out.
I know. So he gets his phone call. Gets his phone call. So I'm stuttering all over the place today. He gets his phone call and gets called away, and it's Danielle, who's still bizarrely into having him be a sympathetic ear for her after everything that's happened, and she's in speed dial. And she's just kind of unloading and crying onto him about poor old Noah who popped his clogs last week. Are you going to get a funeral for him? I don't know. Anyway, he says that whatever issues I had with Noah, he didn't deserve to die. And Billy walks in at this point. Of course he does. And it's like, this is very interesting seeing those two together. A little bit later, they're back in the community centre again. Theo returns, and he's not happy because he thinks that he hears Billy and Todd discussing this whole fact that he was there with Danielle, which was a little bit weird they were together. And he's like, look, stop talking about me.
He wants to control. He wants to control everything that somebody else says and thinks about him.
Yeah, and then he gets the attention all on himself, doesn't he? Because he traps his hand. I don't remember what he was doing.
He was trying to help them put stuff away.
Yeah, Mary's
and in the half,
there, isn't
he hurts
she?
himself.
Yeah, but he really enjoys the attention that he gets out of it, because anything to stop Theo fawning over Billy. At least that's what he thinks in his eyes. So he gets a little bit fed up of her teasing him when she's doing the first aid, Mary, on him, and he kind of is almost a little bit violent, wasn't he? She's there with his hand, and he kind of whips his hand away, kind of violently from Mary, says "Get off of me," and storms out. And I think maybe I don't know whether we saw much more of Mary talking about Theo after that, but it kind of made me wonder,
what does she think about
what does she think about what's going on here? So anyway, the pair of them, Todd and Theo, get back home later, and Theo's blaming Billy for riling him up and said, I'd have never have done that, I'd have never have snapped if you hadn't been talking about me and Danielle. Billy's a gaslighter. But Todd, fair play to him, isn't really having any of it. And Todd says, look, I'm not having you bad-mouthing Billy all the time. He's my mate, lay off of him. And Theo says, well, yeah, maybe I am a little bit jealous of Billy. You know, you and him have got a lot of history, but I promise I'll try not to. He's kind of just testing things out all week, isn't he? And seeing how much...
see what the boundaries are.
Yeah, how much can he push Todd? Because Todd's not completely given up at this point. He's not completely under Theo's spell, but just kind of gradually, he's losing himself as a character as he dances to the beat of Theo's drum. So Billy comes over later, and he and Theo agree a truce, and Billy says, look, come to the Rovers, and Theo says, no, I've had a bit of a day, to be honest. I'm just going to stay here. And then he does the whole, but you can go if you want, Todd, don't you? Todd doesn't really get to have a say in it, and he's like, no, I'm going to stay. He obviously does want to go to the Rovers, but he has also got this little invisible string connecting him and Theo now, exactly, and it's like, no, I'll stay here. So definitely Theo 1, Billy 0 at the end of this one. Not that Billy realises he's in a battle of it at the moment, but Theo is definitely getting what he wants.
Those are the easiest ones to win.
What, when the other person...
Battles when the person doesn't even know they're in a fight with you.
So Wednesday was this Canal Street stuff, which press photos of it came out when they were filming it. Because I think this was...
photos.
Yeah, sorry, pat photos. I think this was the week after we were up there in July.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
I think we were there on the Friday, and this was filmed on the Monday or Tuesday afterwards, I think. So it was really close to it. But I had no idea what they were going to do there, and I've said a lot that I really enjoyed these Canal Street scenes. And what did you make of them?
I was like, because we knew that they were going to do it, and we knew which characters were involved, and it was Mary and Glenda and Todd and Theo.
Don't forget James.
Yeah, I can't remember if I knew that James was there, and if anyone else was there. But I was trying to rack my brains, like, what on earth. What are these characters doing in Canal Street? Given the history that Theo has portrayed of his life, I was thinking, are they taking him out? You know, if you're out and you're a gay man, you've got to go to Canal Street at least once to see if you like it. Or is it like a celebration? Are they engaged? I wondered. Was it an engagement, like a stag do or something?
Yeah, it's funny that.
Not a stag do.
It shows the state of
party.
Yeah, it shows the state of certain things on Coronation Street at the moment. That when they so rarely go on these location shoots, you go, oh, what could be the reason behind that? It must be something big.
Yeah.
Whereas, back 10, 15 years ago, or even less than that, they went out location because that's what they did.
Yeah,
and there would be
that's
nothing.
What people do.
Nothing unusual whatsoever about there. So they've used Canal Street at least once on Coronation Street before, because this was where I think Todd had his first proper gay kiss with Carl Foster back in the early 2000s. And also, I think it was at Canal Street that they had fairly recently on classic Coronation Street where, who was it? Steve spots Sonny, who's going out with Michelle, smogging Sean. I think that might have been Canal Street.
Okay.
So there's a bit of a history with it, but they've not been there ages.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people who not in Manchester and or not in the UK won't know what this is. And I saw somebody, at least one person on our Facebook group, going, "This is a real place." Yes, it is a real place. Canal Street, it's a gay village. It's part of Manchester city centre, and it's just a long road. It's a pedestrianised road down the side of the canal, and it's just full of gay bars and
lots of rainbow flags,
restaurants and progress flags and outdoor seating. And
I mean, we've walked down those, I say, once or twice, and it's never been quite as raucous as it was. But clearly, we've never been on a Wednesday afternoon before, which is when all the hardcore partying happens there.
Yeah, there's all the men on the go-go, like doing the go-go stuff, and
and all the vodka promotions and the karaoke and the drag queens.
It is,
and
Manchester's most exciting thing to do on a Wednesday afternoon.
It's like when they have all the parties in the afternoon, don't they, in Coronation Street these days? Like, anyone's free, nobody
We don't
works.
know. We actually don't know.
Maybe France, maybe it's a bit like France, where in the primary schools they don't have school on Wednesday afternoon.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. They only have morning school on Wednesdays in France. And in the afternoon they all go off to the village gay.
I was going to say, I didn't know where that was going. In France, they send the children to the gay village in the afternoons on Wednesdays.
Yeah, exactly. Gay Paris.
Exactly. How else do you think it got that way? Only on Wednesdays.
Right, so anyway, so the reason that they're going to Canal Street...
Yeah, why are they going to Canal Street?
I'm glad that they did it, because they 100% didn't need to. Everything that happened here
could have happened
in the
very
precinct.
tediously in one of the 4 places.
Yeah, so I'm really glad they went out there. But anyway, Sean is going there because he's got a job promoting a new vodka there.
No, that is not what happened.
No, sorry, no. Is it? What was
Sean's got 2 dates lined up.
Yes.
Date A, who's got a B name, and date B, who's got an A name.
That's kind of funny.
And he has got a friend, or somebody's got a friend, who's promoting vodka.
Oh, yes.
And Glenda goes along because it sounds like a laugh, and so does Mary.
So does Christina as well.
Christina,
yeah.
That's right. And so Todd and Theo go as well.
Yeah.
And so...
Yeah, Todd's a little bit hesitant about going there because he thinks that Canal Street could get a bit... I think chaotic was the word that he used, and he's worried about what Theo's going to think about it, but Theo's well up for it.
Theo, the last time... Well, I mean, he did punch Todd for being gay earlier in the year. So if he's going to start punching people for being gay, Canal Street is one of the worst places to go.
Well, also, because James is coming along, it could get a little bit awkward because there was definitely a lot of tension between Theo and James at one point this year, wasn't there?
Yeah, but I can't remember why.
Oh, personal training sessions he was having with Todd, wasn't he?
Oh, that's right. You got jealous.
Not a Carl Webster personal training session, but an actual genuine
he was worried it could be.
Yeah, he was worried it could be a Carl Webster one, yeah. So anyway, they all gathered to go out, and it was... I quite like the side story of Sean's dates. It was totally...
Yeah. So his
throwaway in the end.
His date bailed on him, so he got a new date, but then both of them ended up saying they were going to go.
And we didn't get to meet either of them during the course of the episode.
And
so they could have the hunkiest pictures on the phone saying, oh yeah, look, this is who it is, without actually having to employ a hunky actor to play the part.
Yeah, so Christina goes, let's all go and we'll vote for who you should date.
It was kind of Sean's relationship drama in a nutshell, wasn't it? Like nobody turns up for Sean's date is the story of his life, I think. Anyway, so they all get there and they spill out the cars, and I loved the use of tracking shots in this.
Yes,
pretty much
there were lots
every
of those.
scene in Canal Street had these long one continuous shots, and I always loved that. But having it in Canal Street with all the colour and everything going on, it was so well choreographed.
This is where all the background artist money went.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Everybody was done. They all looked fabulous.
Yeah, it felt busy. It felt alive, and it almost felt, unmodern Corrie.
It did feel real. It did feel like a real place
because it felt like they were in the real world.
If not, a bit unrealistic because everyone was very, very, very good looking. And a lot of people with no tops on.
Yes, there were. So yeah, there was just lots of shots where they would have these characters, and then Glenda would be kind of schmoozing around, and the character would follow Glenda, and then she'd walk past some other characters, and then you'd see what they were doing. It was so well directed on Wednesday's episode. I loved it.
I know who directed it.
Was it David Castor?
I think it was. If that's not right, I'll tell you.
So they go into a bar and they see a woman who's the mother of someone that Glenda once gave tap dancing lessons to, and he's the drag queen they're looking for that's doing the vodka promotion. And this drag queen's name is Patty O'Dawes, which is brilliant. I can't remember what was the drag... Coronation Street is just full of drag queens recently, isn't it? What was the one earlier this year? The squat...
Kristen Squat Thomas.
See, I didn't think that was as good.
And I said... Why Kristen Scott Thomas was famous years ago, but she hasn't done anything since. And since then, now I know, of course she's famous because she's in Slow Horses. She's one of the main characters. And I was like, they named a drag queen after you. That's how you know you've made it.
But yeah, Patty O'Dawes is brilliant. And they must be quite fun to come up with. But I bet lots of people, especially in scripting, must say, right, I need a drag queen name. I've got a brilliant one. Damn, it's been taken. Okay, I've got to come up with another one. Oh, that's already been taken.
I know.
So anyway, is there an actual drag queen called Patty O'Dawes that was like, hang on a minute, I'm going to...
I don't know who performed the part, or whether that was
I don't know, but he was great when he turned up. Anyway, so...
this mum is saying...
She's been run ragged, isn't she?
he's supposed to be doing it, And if he doesn't do it, I'm going to have to do it. So Glenda goes, oh, I'll bloody do it. Thank you very much.
Oh, Glenda, wonderful, wonderful. So the vodkas are flowing later. Sean's looking at his texts and finding out that the first date is en route. And we also see there's a little moment where James has got his arm round Todd, just in a friendly way, and Theo is not happy about this. He's giving him... we haven't got Jenny for her death stares anymore, but, Theo seems to have carried the mantle from her there, at least.
He's more than happy to.
Because James is also saying that he wants to find a fella here, doesn't he? Which is kind of interesting in the Carl story. But I think this is after Carl has blown
I don't think that they
James out.
They feel exclusive.
No, I guess not. I
think that they're very, very easy breezy.
Yeah. Anyway, so Theo's not happy with that. But then finally, Patio Doors arrives. And Glenda's there on the mic at that point, isn't she? Mary's given it all that. And Patty takes the microphone and does all this great performing. It was so fun. And but then... So then the main gang all head inside this bar. And the camera follows them in. And then you see this bloke who catches Theo's eye. And they are not happy to see each other. And like, oh, what's going on there then? Like I say, this really was a bit of a turning point in the story for me. That I'm hooked to this now. And the appearance of this secret from Theo's past really helped add to that. So they go into the bar and Theo's telling Todd, look, okay, go and have a bot with Sean. It's because he wants to get away and find this bloke. And so he goes to him and he's just mega threatening and in his face, isn't he?
Yeah.
To, what was his name? Owen, I think he said his name was. And Theo says, I am not interested in talking to you. And no, or was it the other way around? I can't remember. One of them says, I'm not interested in talking to you. Owen says... You can't tell me what to do anymore, I think. Basically, I'm making a bit of a picture.
You didn't seem to be able to follow this very well. I think you were too distracted by the glitter.
No, I enjoyed the Canal Street scenes immensely, but they were very noisy, and it was quite difficult to pick out the dialogue.
Oh.
What? Is that
maybe you should put subtitles on.
No, I don't like so. We did end up putting the subtitles on for these scenes. I relented.
I was smug about that.
Well, it's because I was like, it's late.
It's because you kept pausing it going, what did he say? What did he say?
But anyway,
put subtitles on.
The long and short of it is that Theo used to date this guy and was clearly very, very coercively controlling with him.
Yes.
And he's like getting there in his face and he's like really quite sinister over him. And he kind of manhandles him out the bar once. And Owen's like, you can't tell me what to do anymore.
He says, you better think very, very carefully about what you're going to do next.
Yeah. Owen says, you can't gaslight me anymore. You can't manhandle me anymore. And Theo calls him drunk as usual. And that was kind of interesting because you get Theo telling Todd at the moment that he's pudgy. And oh, you're always eating so much. And I wonder whether in this previous relationship, he used drink as the thing to... criticise Owen about, and now he's got the eating
maybe
with
they
Todd.
didn't use that alcohol with Todd and Theo because we had that with Yasmin.
Oh yes, we did, didn't we? We had Jeff
he would
was
always say,
"Oh,
you're drunk, so you don't know what's going on."
Yeah. Theo says at one point, "You're trying to gaslight me," and
I do. Theo accuses it back.
Yeah,
that's Darvo, isn't it?
Theo does know what he's doing. Darvo,
what's it? It's how narcissists win arguments.
Oh, I don't know.
And it's deny, attack, and reverse victim and offender.
Oh, there we go.
So he will always play the victim.
It's funny because do you think that Theo completely gets and is 100% in control and knowing that he's an abuser? It's.
I think many abusive people live in their own delusional world, and that's why they find it very difficult to relate to people and can't really have proper relationships with people because they don't understand. They don't live in reality. He's
clearly scheming because we saw it on Friday's episode when he hears that voice message that Todd left him on his mobile.
He's very manipulative.
And he purposefully goes out so that Todd doesn't know he's been back.
But I think he thinks he's doing it because Todd deserves it.
Do you reckon?
Not because I'm not a bad guy. It's because Todd's made me do it. I would really. I said this before about about Jeff, and I would really, really like to know: has anyone ever been abusive and realised and changed? Like we never hear that, do we? We never hear that story from someone.
I feel so embarrassed now
because
I
think it's a really taboo thing to acknowledge that they don't always know what they're doing, and I would never say that they're the real victims or anything like that, but imagine living a life where you could never actually have a relationship with somebody because every coping strategy that you have is just toxic and ruins your life. Like, and I think we said before when Jeff was abusing Yasmin that there are support groups for abusive people, but I guess acknowledging that you are abusive is really difficult.
Yeah, I mean, you do get sometimes Corrie villains redeem themselves, but it's not really the flow of soap justice, is it? I mean, Mason turned over a new
the thing
leaf.
is about, I get that, but soap justice has kind of become a bit flaky in recent times, and I'm not saying I want this to happen with Theo, but
I really don't.
I think that issues, storylines and uncomfortable topics are soap's strengths, or they see it as that, and is there room for like modelling an abuser who recognises what they're doing?
Yeah, you're right. Otherwise, it just feels like if you're an abuser, there is no hope for you, and that's not necessarily. If you would it
actually help people? Is anybody going to watch this and go, "Oh no, I'm Theo"? I don't think so. This is for people who are Todd, isn't it? The storylines are always for people who have been through this or people who are going through this, to help them realise, number one, because that's one of the most difficult things, to realise that you're in this relationship, and also to get out. But what if you could be helped by how would that work? Would it work? I don't know, because I know that there are some ways that people are so damaged, and I'm not going to say specifically the disorders or mental issues, that because there are ones that I believe where you're just never gonna relate because something's happened or there's some kind of imbalance, and I don't want to stigmatise anybody, but it's just not possible for you to really.
I just don't know how well it'd go down with viewers, and I think you're right. It does feel like an important thing to do for real life, but when you're watching a soap,
it's just so abhorrent.
You need to see the abuser, the villain, the bad guy
get their justice,
comeuppance, and most often than not, it means getting killed, and occasionally put in prison if you're lucky.
It's just really abhorrent to like humanise somebody and to sort of give them a redemption arc. But
the whole thing with Owen,
could it actually save people's lives?
The whole conversation with Owen is that basically Theo is rotten to the core, and he's just a bad person through and through, because he starts talking to him about the conversion therapy group, and he says, I've known other people who went to gay conversion therapy like you did, and they didn't turn out like you. You're the way you are, not because you went through conversion therapy, just because you are a really nasty piece of work.
This was a really important thing for Corrie to make clear, I think, because Theo uses this, as his get out of jail free card a little bit, and it's one of those things where you don't want everybody to be tarred with the same brush. If you went through conversion therapy, you might be damaged in some way, and that's you don't want people watching soaps who don't know about conversion therapy to go, oh, is that what happens to people?
It turns them all into monsters.
Yeah.
Not that we're defending conversion therapy or anything like that, but I'd kind of considered earlier, like, is this too much being dumped onto this story? Is it a story about coercive control? Is it a story about conversion therapy? Is it a story about domestic abuse? And is that just a little bit too much together? But I actually don't mind, and I think having Theo just be nasty, who happens to go through a really horrible experience himself, I'm quite happy with, but I don't want him to have that redemption.
It's hard because I don't think people are ever just nasty for no reason.
No, of course not. Everybody's got reasons for their behaviour.
But I think some people might be. I don't know. I'm kind of stuck.
I don't want there to be a scene where Theo is saying, "Oh, when I was younger, my mum was horrible," and I don't need
I know.
that.
This is what
he's
we
a
had
villain
before,
now.
though, didn't we?
He's got to go down the villain's
This is what we had with the racist people, where it was like, oh, well, I've got a really good reason for being racist because he made me racist. And then it goes back down the line until we get to the original racist, whose fault it is that everyone is racist.
Tell you who that is. Naomi. She's the massive racist, isn't she?
Who's that?
Asha's woman. You know, the massive racist.
Oh, her, Naomi, the careers
she's
advisor.
the head vampire racist in
She is.
Weatherfield.
Who's the head vampire of being an evil abuser then? That's what I want to know.
It's Jeff, isn't it?
I thought this scene was a bit...
Alan Bradley. Huh?
He's the gay... What? The gay conversion therapy vampire?
No, you said that who's the head vampire of being a massive coercive
I've moved
abuser.
on in my head.
And it's Alan Bradley.
Yeah, he is the head vampire of abuse.
Jenny turned out all right, despite having a horrible father, but he was.
Well, I'm still waiting for Rita to turn.
He was a little bit absent throughout a bit of her childhood, so.
Anyway,
she had a lucky escape.
This scene was like exposition dump, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Because Owen turns up and literally reminds Theo of their entire relationship history, and then I thought it was really a bit heavy-handed because he's like, yeah, this is my story. Like, you were horrible to me. You were a gaslighter. I ran away in the middle of the night with no shoes, and I sat down at a bench. And then I met a nurse, and he told me that you were horrible and abusive, and that now, and then we're dating, and here he is. This is the nurse that I met that night. Come on down. This is your life.
Yeah. And the nurse is like, oh, Theo's not worth
Leave
it.
him. Leave it.
And then Theo's fuming about this.
And I like the way the nurse came over and he was like, he didn't ask any questions at all. I'd be like, what the hell's going on? Who's this? Is that a horrible git face? You can get in a bin.
What questions do you want a nurse to ask?
I'd be like, what's going on over here?
Are you pregnant? Have you got any history of diabetes?
Can I just check your blood pressure, please?
Do you want an injection in your right arm or your left arm? What did you think about the fact that, because this was a revelation, that Theo had been in gay relationships before?
Smug.
Makes sense to us.
I said
it?
this.
Yeah, because he
convinced.
was being all too confident about being flagrantly out on Gay Bay earlier this year. That's not the sort of thing that you would do if this was your first rodeo.
Yes, I was right. Well, Coronation Street put the clues in there, didn't they? So
Yeah.
it's not like I was right from making it up completely myself.
But it does make me feel even worse for Danielle that she was not just cheated on once, but numerous occasions.
Well, she gets brought up in this conversation because he says that every time, you'd leave the flat to go off with Danielle. How much does Danielle know about Theo's history? Because she seemed really shocked and upset. Is this the first time she's ever caught him?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, 100%. She didn't know before.
How could she not know when they had their own flat? What did she think? Owen and Theo. Owen, this bloke we've never seen before, who's his ex, Theo's ex. They shared a flat. What did Danielle think he was doing?
Yeah. I love this. I thought this is very juicy. This scene.
This was really good. This was a great way to establish Theo's evil history.
Anyway, they'll go home later. The Canal Street stuff's over. It transpired that Sean's A and B dates ended up snogging, which is kind of funny. Snogging each other, exactly. And but Theo goes missing, doesn't he? And he when the revelers get back to the pub, Todd's returns a bit later because he's been searching around for Theo, who's fuming in the snug area. I wrote the snug in the notes because I didn't know how else to refer to it, but you know the bit we mean, round the corner.
Yeah, it's the snug.
And Todd tries to talk to him and Theo just kind of swooshes out, and he's using this as an opportunity to show that he's mad at Todd because, well,
it's because he felt out of control at Canal Street and he was blindsided and confused, and so he's trying to take it out on Todd and control the situation.
Yeah, and then later back at the flat, Todd sees a picture of Theo and Owen together on Theo's phone because he's clearly
obviously been looking at it.
Yeah, and Theo snatches it up and said, "Yeah, Theo's my ex," and Todd's like,
"Owen's my ex.
Owen's my ex." Sorry, and then Todd's really confused, and Theo's like, "Well, look, I used to see him." And then he got all Larry and we ended it. And then he switches it quickly onto Todd getting flirty with James. And Todd's like, no, I didn't. What are you talking about? I don't want to argue about this. Can we just start again? I don't know what's got your knickers in a twist tonight, Theo.
But I've got you a nice takeaway. Let's have a nice takeaway.
Yeah. But Theo decides that I'm going out clubbing alone because
I'm mad at you.
I'm mad at you for you haven't really done anything, but I'm mad at you, and I'm going to.
He's mad at Todd for finding out about Owen.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. And Friday's episode, Theo's absent throughout a lot of it, and I never thought I would have said this, 6 months ago, but I was sitting through the episode going, I hope Theo's in this episode, because I want to know what he's going to do next.
I wonder how many people wondered if he had died, because, Noah just died.
Yeah, I hear it's catching.
Yeah, maybe.
So Friday's episode, which I didn't particularly enjoy Friday's episode that much. I gave it a high bobbins. You gave it bog standard, but it's doing quite well on our poll on Twitter at the moment. Banging is by far in the lead.
Really?
Yeah, but it's because there are a lot of Swala scenes, aren't there?
Oh,
let's be honest.
I wonder, now Noah's dead, I don't think this theory is going to hold much weight, but is it more likely now that there was something between Noah and Theo? Now we know that he's had a relationship with Owen.
You're right. I think the fact
I don't
that
see
Noah's
how it could
dead
come out.
It's going to be a bit so what, but I don't know. Anyway, Friday is mostly Todd worrying himself into a frenzy because he doesn't know where Theo's got to, and he asks Gary if he's seen him. No, he's there looking at his phone at work. George is really concerned about Todd, and
he's getting everything wrong.
Yeah, and he kind of
burying
knows
people
that
upside
Theo's
down.
a bit odd, and anyway, it turns out that what do we have?
Jake comes in.
Just forgetting his name again. Jake comes into the cabin and gives Brian Theo's phone, which he is apparently just found outside.
On the floor.
Yeah, and
Brian turns it on and sees a picture of Theo and Todd and goes, "It's either Theo or Todd's phone."
Yeah, so he takes it over to the Undertaker's, gives it to Todd. And Todd's just left a kind of soppy and apologetic voice message to Theo, hasn't he? To try and say,
don't know what you're mad about now,
but he gets Theo's phone. And he's obviously worried about what's happened to Theo. Like, why would his phone be there? And George is talking to Glenda later, I think it was, and saying, "I'm really worried about Todd. This relationship doesn't feel right for him." And Glenda tells him, "You just need to be there to pick up the pieces if it ever ends." Anyway, Todd goes to the police station to report Theo's disappearance to Officer Jess, who made numerous appearances in today's episode as the one and only uniformed officer, R.I.P. Craig. And Todd thinks that she's overreacting and leaves.
No, Todd thinks that Jess thinks he's overreacting, and so he doesn't make a report.
Yeah, so he's kind of... Yeah, he's unsure of himself and not trusting himself because his mental state is all just very battered, thanks to Theo. But anyway,
Theo is a bit of a flaky one, isn't he? Because if you went missing and I found your phone on the floor, I would know you were dead.
But yeah, basically what we have happen later on in the episode is I think Theo's in the shower, isn't he? And
Todd's in the shower.
Theo comes in to the flat and kind of looking around. He's looking all moody and gets a beer out of the fridge, and then he sees the phone that's sitting on the side that Todd's left there, listens to the voicemail, uses it as an opportunity to say, "I know what I can do to make Todd to make Todd want me even more and feel even more guilty. I'm going to swan off a little bit longer and make him stew all over the weekend." And that's basically...
Oh, a weekend-long stew.
And then, utterly bizarre reveal... In the next scene, he goes to the precinct, and who's his partner in crime but Jake Windass?
Jake's building himself a little repertoire, isn't he?
Well, earlier this year, I think the only other time that we've seen Jake this year is when he was blackmailing Lauren.
Yep, because he saw them steal the car.
Yeah,
and we all thought it was Bobby.
Yes, we thought it was Bobby
blackmailing Lauren.
Correct,
but it was actually Jake the Snake.
When Bobby finds out that Lauren had suspected him, that's why he bogged off to Spain. But yeah, weird use of that character. I think
they're doing something with him.
They're turning him into a
little villain. I like it. Really, what are you moaning about?
It's just like they're not investing in this character whatsoever, are they? And it's going
yes,
to
they
be.
Are. They're giving him personality.
It's going to be years until we see him. Sort of get proper decent stories, and I wouldn't be surprised if he gets recast at some point in that time because he's the right sort of age. It's peculiar, and I just don't like the kind of Jake and all his mates were hanging around in Scally's alley, weren't
They
they?
were. There was a little
Precincts,
gang
and
of tiny
why can't we
hoodlums.
just have more nice, normal children.
No, they're all boring and dull. He's the new Hope. He's the man Hope.
Is he? Is he the new demon David Platt?
He is.
The problem is,
I don't get it.
He can only be that if they get decent stories for his family and actually use him. They can't have him turn up once every 6 months and be up to something a bit dodgy.
No, listen, I like this story with this kid because otherwise, in Corrie, if you're a kid, you just look sad when your parents argue or get divorced or die, or something sad happens to you medically and your parents get sad about that. Like, most kids on the street are kind of boring. And they're all nice. I don't know why you're saying can't we have a nice kid, because they're all nice.
Okay, maybe you're right.
Apart from Hope.
Yeah, you're right.
And she's the best one.
I guess he's following in his father's footsteps, isn't he?
Yeah.
Because Gary Windass was also much of a scally when he was in his teens, or late teens or early 20s, however old he was when we saw him. Anyway, talking of scallywags, Gemma, let's move. And anything more to add to that story? We done with that one? Or are we going to move on to horrible Carl and Skanky Apple?
Yeah, lest we think that there's interesting stories in the show. Let me remind you that there's a whole lot of Abby and Carl. Actually, what do you think? Is it getting better or what with this? I feel like we've gone
Debbie
one step
knows
now,
now,
and 2
doesn't
steps
she?
back with this, because there was the development with Abby breaking up with Kevin, and then I thought, we're getting somewhere, we're going somewhere. But now we're back to status quo again, aren't we, by the end of the week?
Whereas the Todd and Theo story has got its hooks in me, this is still, every time it comes on, I'm just like, I just want the story to be over.
I want Abby to realise what Carl's been doing and triumphantly kick him to the curb. But do you think there's any way back for her and Kevin?
No, I don't think there is now.
It's difficult
but
now.
I still need her to screw his scrotum up. That's what I want to see.
What the hell?
Grip it off.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Kevin.
No.
Kevin's had his troubles with his scrotum. Leave him alone.
Don't want anything else there.
Do you know how, well, in our house, we've got very many socks, right? They're all odd, okay? And this is what Coronation Street is like. We've got a drawer of, nice socks. They're all in pairs. And then we've got the scrappy drawer that's smaller at the top, where all the single socks live. And every so often, you find one, and you put it together with the right one, and it gets promoted to the big drawer.
The main sock
and you
drawer.
get to hang out with all the other socks in their pairs. And this is Coronation Street. If you're in a pair, you get to be in the nice big drawer. And if you're not, if you're a single sock, you get shoved in the tiny little hole and you barely get taken out. But every so often, what I do, if I need to go to the allotment or something, I will grab 2 random single socks, as long as they're similar fabric, don't care if they're the same colour, and I will put them on. And it always felt to me like Abby and Kevin were like, these two, would you just put them together?
That's a very good analogy, Gemma. I do appreciate
But
it.
now, who do they end up with? Because Corrie, I'm going to stick with this analogy. You got to be in the big sock drawer, or you're not going to get, a look in, are you?
No.
So what's going to happen to Abby and Kevin? Where's Abby going to live?
I think that there'd been quite a few years before this story had happened when Kevin was, he was down the back of the sofa, wasn't he?
What, a missing sock?
Yeah.
Down the back of the sofa waiting for his other half.
It wouldn't surprise me if he just doesn't end up back down there again.
But he's got a big set. He's got a big set. He's got that house, and it's only him and Alfie, which thank God we rarely see because children are dull. And Jack, who same. So someone's got to move in, and it's funny actually that Debbie now has her flat. We got to see more of it this week, because it could have been in an alternative reality that they moved Debbie in with Kevin just to keep that set bulked out.
Maybe. Look, let's go.
Well, I'm sorry, I'm musing.
No, it's interesting.
Right,
so it's Abby's birthday on Monday, isn't it?
She's sleeping on the sofa because she and Kevin have broken up.
But it's not enough that she actually leaves the house.
No, Jack's a bit mad at her still. He gives her a present, and she's like, "Oh, thanks." And he said, "Well, I only bought it before everything happened." So Kevin is not
a dressing gown, wasn't it? Which I think I've seen some people theorise may well be spotted in somebody's hotel room at some point.
Who by though? Everyone knows apart from
Well, that's
Kevin, and
true,
Kevin
actually.
knows.
Debbie doesn't.
He just can't prove it.
Mm.
So anyway, she's like, great. And Jack says, come and have dinner with us tonight. And Abby isn't sure. And Kevin's like, whatever, I don't care. So she goes to the hotel and she feels really bad. She doesn't want to have Nookie with Carl. She just is moaning about everything that's gone wrong.
She's like, no, sorry. So he's like, fine, I'm going to text James.
Yeah,
then.
Carl texts James because he's got his needs.
Yeah.
And so they were supposed to spend
Insatiable.
her birthday evening together, but she brushes him off so she can go with Jack and Kevin. Then we get to see Debbie in the cabin. She's chatting with Jenny and Rita about Abby, who then walks in and overhears them talking. Then when she gets in her pockets to buy something, a Chariot Square room key card falls out, and Debbie's like, what you doing with this? And so Abby's like, nothing, runs away. Debbie follows her to the garage, and then Abby's saying, oh, I had it for ages. I must have just ended up in my pocket and I forgot to give it back.
Debbie's like, well, I don't remember you staying there.
Didn't they win? Didn't they win a hotel stay? Sure, she's given them hotel
I thought they
stays
had
before.
a meal. I seem to remember them having once they
Well,
were winning. I don't know.
She's like, I would
Or was that
remember
the tasting
if
menu?
you had stayed at my hotel. Why did Carl give her her own key?
But she does have dementia, so maybe she wouldn't.
Well,
remember
this
it.
is the sad thing that you can do to Debbie now, can't you?
Well, Carl's
Carl
definitely
tries,
taken
yeah.
advantage.
Carl is there at the garage and says, well, maybe you've been getting confused, and maybe you just don't remember that she stayed there. And Debbie goes, and then Abby says to him, that was really horrible. That was really ruthless to try to use her dementia against her.
Abby keeps finding things that are a bit unsavoury about Carl, but she still just turns a blind eye, doesn't she?
It's
She's
the power of love.
You wouldn't, well, don't do that. And he's like, oh, I had to do it, but I'm still a good guy, really.
No,
And she
I
says,
turned
"Oh, okay,
over
then."
I turned over a florist and threatened the longest running character in the show with death. But I'm a nice guy, really.
Yeah.
So Ronnie and Debbie are in the pub.
She's just blinded by him.
Beautiful. Ronnie and Debbie are in the pub, and Ryan phones up and says, oh, something's been nicked from the hotel, but I've tried to look at the CCTV and it's not working. And so Debbie's like, oh, great, I'm going to have to go and sort this out. So she goes to the hotel and she's looking at the CCTV and she's like, oh, this camera is out. And then she starts going through the cameras from this morning and zoom, enhance.
That was peculiar,
It's
wasn't
Abby.
it? Yeah, she sees Abby come in and she's like, hey, now, what's your game? What's going on here then? And then she rewinds it and like comes in. Then she zooms into it. It's like, yeah, that's definitely Abby. Well done, Debbie. We could tell in the first 2 seconds, and it took you.
It is funny how
10.
you can really tell somebody.
Mm.
So Carl and James have just done the deed in their hotel
James
room,
is doing his flies up.
and he runs off because they hear Debbie coming.
Yeah,
And-
James has to scalpel, doesn't he?
Debbie knocks on the door, and Carl's like, no, you can't come in, I'm busy. And she says, no, I'm coming in anyway. Well, she says, I'm feeling rough. And she says, a bit of rough more like, name of Abby, open this door. So she comes in and says, I caught you on CCTV. What the hell are you doing? And Carl swears that she was just coming round to visit. And then she sees a condom wrapper on the floor, which is clearly from Carl and James.
But I think maybe because she could mention that to Abby, couldn't she?
And she's like, we don't use protection. I'm trying for a baby. I can't see how this could come out. I hope that everybody would practice safe sex on this show. So we don't want any more children.
The fact that Abby didn't do it with him that day, Debbie could, because she knows about the affair, she doesn't need to keep it a secret. She could say, oh, yeah, and I'm
Maybe this will come up, but I
finding your
don't know.
condom wrappers on the floor like last Wednesday, or
Well,
last
that's
Monday.
disgusting,
And
isn't it?
Abby's like, no, I didn't have one. We didn't do it.
I didn't have one. Look, it's
Double
too
up.
much talk about that. Carl says, yeah, me and Abby have been seeing each other. And Debbie's like, ugh. Right, that's it. And she goes off and says, I'll be in the bar, you better come and talk to me. So Carl gets dressed, joins her in the bar, and says, basically again, tries to weasel his way out of it by blaming Kevin. They say, oh, Kevin lied about cancer, so I decided to shag his wife. And Debbie's like, that's not how this works. And Carl says, well, no, we're serious about each other. Abby's different from my other girlfriends. And she's like, I can't hear any more of this.
She's got his number because she knows what he's like. And and it's right. It's exactly what he's like because he isn't interested in a long-term relationship with Abby.
What does he want? I still don't get what he really wants with her.
At what point will he just decide to drop her? When's he going to get tired of her?
He clearly is fond of her, but it doesn't extend to caring, I don't think, that much. Because he knows that she wouldn't want him to be with James at the same time.
But he's had this string of women, hasn't he?
Well, men probably.
And men. Sometimes he just gets bored of them, and I suppose it's just a matter of time until that happens for Abby. Because I doubt she's that much more special, in inverted commas, than the other people that he's seen. I don't know.
I want to know whether Debbie, not that it matters, I guess, but does Debbie know that he's into men as well?
No, I don't think so.
She says about women, but she doesn't say men and women, which I think would be the perfect time to bring it up.
Yeah, I think it's his secret.
Why? I don't. It feels weird to have another guy he's closeted at the same time we had Theo's story.
I think it's too tempting to have it as a big cliffhanger.
I know, but it just feels.
I don't like.
In a show that's got lots of really healthy representations of different types of like gay men and women and their relationships, it does feel a bit like a step back to have somebody being gay being a sordid secret, like we're back in 2000 again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, no.
I guess some people will still be scandalised, but I don't think Debbie would. Debbie loves the gays. She's always saying,
"Hello, gays."
So, anyway, I found that interesting that it doesn't seem as though he's out to his family. Maybe it's just because it isn't going to be more of a shock to Abby. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Abby doesn't know. She clearly doesn't know.
No, I don't think she knows in general, and she definitely doesn't know about James.
No.
So, I wonder if James knows that Carl's, closeted in some way. Do you think Carl even thinks he is? Or do you think he would be like, oh, you just never asked me?
I can't remember. I have a feeling it might have been brought up in dialogue, but I can't remember what they said.
Does anyone know? You can tell us. So, Debbie then goes storming off to number 13 to shout at Abby. And says, oh, Carl's told me about your mucky little affair. And Abby's like, oh, Kevin lied about cancer. And me and Carl love each other. We're going to move. And she's like, what the hell are you talking about? And then Kevin and Jack walk in and go, what are you talking about?
Something's going on.
So Debbie quickly saves the situation by saying, right, Kevin, Abby being here is wrong. She's left you. You don't know her anything. She doesn't deserve your pity. Kick her out. And Kevin says, I'll handle this how I want, thank you very much. Is it because you've got dementia? And she's like, hang on, no. I don't want you and my brother being made a fool out of, thanks very much.
I think this is the moment where she says, why do people keep saying that? Why do people... So frustrating for her.
It must be really annoying.
Yeah. She's like, I'm still very much me.
Because in your head, you might sometimes think, what? Hang on.
Yeah.
Right, so Kevin tells her to concentrate on her own problems. So then Carl and Abby meet up in Victoria Gardens, and she says, look, Debbie's not told Kevin, but I'm getting fed up. Why don't we just tell him ourselves?
I'm a little bit disappointed that Debbie hasn't told Kevin, and I don't think Kevin's going to be too pleased when he finds out she's been keeping it from him for all this time.
I know that they do this all the time, but it makes the side quest with Tracy all the more pointless.
Yeah,
why were they so adamant that they had to give her £10,000?
Well, she seems to have given up trying with that now, hasn't she?
Yeah, it just feels like a bit weird.
Yeah. Maybe she should have stuck around properly at the speed dating night and see if she could have got herself a millionaire. Because they obviously all just... Tracy. Yeah, because they obviously all like to go to speed dating at backstreet pubs on Monday afternoons. That's where they...
Well, that's what Bethany needs to fund her journalism career.
Yeah.
So, let's tell Kevin. He gets a text from Debbie asking him to talk. So he goes to see Debbie in the Rovers, and she says, I don't have the heart to tell Kevin the truth. Call it off with Abby, though, and then Kevin will never find out. And Carl says to Debbie that his mum always told him, Carl, that he was a waste of space.
Oh, yes, we got a bit of Carl and Elaine lore on that episode.
And he says, she only took me away from Bill to make him mad. And Debbie's like, what? I thought that you were so close. And he says, no, that's just my little backstory for why I'm a dick.
Yeah, does this make us feel any more sorry for Carl? Nope.
Carl says, I know what I've done is unacceptable. If you want me to leave, I will. And she says, no, I really love having you around, but don't ruin Kevin's life. Please leave Abby. Then we get to see Debbie, and we get to see the reveal of the interior of her bonkers flat.
It's the best. We saw a bit of it last week, didn't we? In that nighttime scene with her and Kevin. But bravo to the set dressers, because it is 100% exactly what I would have wanted from a Debbie Webster flat. There's just garish, clashing colours all over the place. Statues of who knows what. There's like a picture of her, isn't there? Like some kind of modern art cubist picture of.
Cubist.
Oh no, it's not cubist. No, it's a bit
It's a Renaissance kind of style, isn't it? Like it's an oil painting.
Yeah,
kind of
but
like girl with a
bright and
pearl earring, but she's blowing up a bubble.
Yeah, but with bright garish colours,
Yeah.
a bit kind of Day of the Dead kind of style. Not just the colour scheme. I mean, not with the skulls. And then you got like the shelf in the background that's like dripping gold. It's absolutely hideous.
There's definitely
brilliantly fabulous and perfectly Debbie.
A stool with a upholstery. The stools have all got upholstery on them, and one of them is a foot.
Yeah, it's just the best. They must have had so much fun.
I find the colour palette a bit dark for what I would think Debbie would be. It's like maximalism on depression.
Well, both of the scenes that we've seen have been evening scenes, although this one that we saw on Monday was lighter, but I really want to see it. Next time we go behind the scenes, I really want to go there and just explore every
nook and cranny.
Right, of this.
It feels like
set.
They've changed the layout a bit because
we were trying to work it out, weren't we?
The island of the kitchen used to project at like 45 degrees from the front door, but it seems to now go parallel.
Yeah.
Along the same.
Yeah, we were pausing scenes, weren't we? Going, where's this link? Where was the window before? It doesn't look like Carla's flat that's just been gutted and then put back again. But it's a bit like Carla and Lisa's house, isn't it? That managed to have this huge renovation makeover in no time at all. It looks like they've just knocked down all the interior walls and made it something different.
What was that show that they used to do that?
What, changing rooms?
They've had changing rooms in. They do that in
Carol
a day.
Smiley and what was Lawrence
Bowen
been in there.
And Linda.
I don't remember.
Javesky.
But anyway, what happened in that scene, Gemma? So
she's looking through old photos of her family.
Yeah, she's looking through all the 80s photos. She's looking at that photo of Kevin and Curly and Terry Duckworth playing their instruments that I referenced on the podcast last week, quite funnily. And there's ones of her and Bill. There was one that had Percy Sugden in, because Percy Sugden was the uncle, maybe, of Elaine, who is Carl's mum. So it was a really lovely memory lane little trip there.
Well, she says, I'm going... Ronnie comes in and says, what are you up to? Because she's really upset. And she says, I've been on a trip down memory lane while I've still got a memory.
Yeah.
And he sees a picture of her, Carl and Kevin together, and says, get it framed. And she says, yeah, remind me of the good times before it all goes wrong.
Yeah, I thought it was
a
nice little line there. She's going through all of this turmoil and uncertainty, and now she's just been burdened with this massive family secret because of her oik of a brother.
I know, he's terrible. So Wednesday, Abby goes to the garage, and Kevin's just miserable. So she leaves. Who wouldn't? Carl and James are chatting in the Rovers, and James joking about being chucked out of the hotel. And Carl's like, oh, you just love the drama. Come back with me later. And he says, no, I can't. I'm going down Canal Street. So this is where he goes off. Mm. Then Debbie goes up to Abby and says, right, have you moved out yet? Do you want me to come and sit in your case, help you zip it up?
That was a good line, I like that.
And then she says that Abby's collecting Websters like Pokemons.
Yeah, that was brilliant. That was one of my favourites on Wednesday.
Yeah. And
of course, just got to reference anything Nintendo and I'm all for it.
She threatens to tell Kevin unless Abby moves out. So Abby starts to pack back at home, and Kevin says, isn't this a bit quick? What about Alfie? And they both start thinking about the kids. And next time we see Abby, she's telling Roy, thank you for letting me stay with you, the offer, but I'm not going to need it now. And she goes to Debbie and says, right, do what you want, drop the bomb if you want, I'm staying with Kevin for the kids. And if you want to ruin their lives, you can. It'll be the kids you hurt the most. What a guilt tripper. So Debbie finds Carl in the pub and says, right, I'm going to keep stum, but if you force my hand by whatever, I'm gonna tell. Take some responsibility and stay away from Abby, she tells him.
Yeah. So there were developments in the story this week, weren't there? It's not like it's spinning its wheels.
I guess so, but it's still back to how it was, except that Debbie knows now.
Yeah.
Is every week someone new going to find out?
And then just not do anything about it.
Well, I think Abby's being a right sanctimonious cow here, isn't she? Using the kids against Debbie.
Yes.
You should have thought about that.
It's terrible.
Was she moaning about Debbie ripping the kids away from their home when she's ready at a moment's notice to run off to Germany?
Exactly.
With Carl.
Exactly.
That's gonna be the same thing, isn't it?
The sad thing is, it doesn't feel like there's an end in sight for this story, does it? It doesn't feel like we're nearly there.
I know you don't like Carl, but I do find I think I want him to be there and be nice so that Debbie doesn't get sad.
No, we don't want him. Right, let's try and whiz through these.
I'm obviously just a nicer person than you.
Let's try and whiz through some of these last stories because I think we've had the main event already. So we've got the Asha crashes story. And Monday's episode involves her and Nina having a lunchtime chat. And
nice
Asha
to see them again, together.
Well, it looked like it was leading towards, are they going to rekindle anything? But it didn't really go there, did it?
No, it didn't.
But it's maybe laying the foundations for a possible reunion for those two. But yeah, she's there getting kind of smashed over in the bistro, isn't she? Well, because she's also seen this Send PX picture that Ardy's put up of him, sailing down a river in India or something, and he's living his best life, and Asha is just having a miserable old time being a hard, overworked paramedic.
Don't work for the public. Don't work for the government in this country because they'll bleed you dry.
Yeah. So she declares, under the influence with Nina, that she doesn't want to be a paramedic anymore, and staggers off home.
They have a boozy lunch, don't they?
Yeah. And
she's being rude to people.
Yeah, and she tells Nina at the end of the episode, like, I just wanted to let off steam, but then she sort of starts getting a bit leery again herself and saying, look, you're suffocating and boring. So she's really, really struggling with this, and I feel bad for her in a way, but it doesn't feel to me like Corrie has committed enough to this story. It was like, we've shown her one bad day at work, and now we're just supposed to believe that she's feeling terrible and overworked and she wants to quit. It feels like if we want to if I want to feel really sympathetic for her, I need to see on multiple occasions her having a dreadful time rather than just once.
I mean, we had this conversation before, but and without wanting to be dismissive of anyone, and I there must be more going on here, because genuinely, if one bad day at work causes this, you probably shouldn't be a paramedic, because it's clearly not the right thing for you to do.
Yeah, you've got to have a thick skin
you've got to be
some
resilient.
extent if you're working public facing.
Well, not public facing, but like literally in matters of life and death. And I know that it's a terrible, it chews people up and spits them out. My mum used to have a friend who was a paramedic, and it's a really, really hard job. It's the same with being a 999 call operator. It's not a job that a lot of people can do for a long time.
It's too depressing.
It must be harrowing. I wouldn't be able to do it.
But I'm still just not feeling like I've seen enough.
She's barely done it. She's not even trained properly, and she's not. I think she should quit.
Maybe, yeah.
Because I think she's super.
She can't stick it now.
I really like
Asha.
Asha.
She won't, will she?
I don't know. I don't.
It's too tempting to have yet another emergency services worker as a main character on Coronation Street.
It's not that you can never struggle. It's just how you deal with it. That's the crucial element, isn't it? And some people deal with it in a way that maybe makes them better at being a paramedic than Asha is.
Yeah, well, her way of dealing with it is just kind of stomping around and declaring that she doesn't want to be a paramedic anymore, because she tells Deb this on Wednesday. And then says, sorry, and she throws a chocolate bar at him. Yes, Sienna lets it slip to Dev. And
so
then
Sienna
Asha
is Asha's mentor, isn't she, at work?
And so she has a bit of a fallout with Dev, but it's all just very brushed over because the main events on Wednesday were Jenny's leaving and all the Canal Street stuff. So we got little bits of it.
Well, the main thing that happens is...
Yeah, we find out that... well, she tells Dev that she dropped the complaint against Naomi for Bernie's sake, because otherwise Bernie would have got in trouble. And that causes a whole load of issues on Friday, because Bernie finds out about it on the day of their proper marriage ceremony.
Their legal ceremony, not proper.
Yeah, which... It still felt a little bit like they shoved it in there just for the sake of it, because we didn't get to see any of it, did we? We heard that it was okay, and Asha had a lovely dress on, and I guess it just caused that extra little bit of tension for Bernie. But
did you see that the government is going to re-hall marriages? Because I've been moaning before, and I said wrongly, because they changed the law and I didn't realise that you couldn't get married outside, and apparently you can in certain places. But now they're opening it up. They've decided to open it up to all different places. Like, you could get married in a beach, you could get married at a heritage site.
Oh, okay.
And they're making it cheaper and easier to do.
Family
and
values.
this is the bit that I think is good. It's going to make it easier for couples to have legally binding religious ceremonies, including Sikh, Muslim, Buddhist and Hindu, and also humanists.
Oh, really?
To conduct legally binding ceremonies for the first time, which I've always thought
Yeah, no,
that
we
they
have
should
said
do.
that, haven't we?
Because Quakers, Christians and Catholic or something. It was like a very narrow band of religions were allowed to have legally binding.
In some states, it makes sense if Christianity is the official religion of the UK, but I think it's fair dues for other religions ceremonies to be legal.
Well, I didn't realise until we had that story with Rana and Sudan that they weren't.
The ceremony.
Yeah.
What?
That's what I was saying.
Oh, sorry. I was just couldn't remember. You remember the name?
I just thought I just find it really sad that people get treated differently if they have a different religion. If they're sincerely entering into the, being married, they should have the same. Well, they're doing it now, so I'll shut up about it.
But is the government changing its policy so that you can just go to a hospital and have your daughter say, "Oh, you're married now"? I don't know whether that's in the small print at the bottom there. But anyway, they got married properly today, and there's just some. There's miniature drama caused because Bernie
Stop
realised...
saying properly. It's
legally,
legally, isn't it?
Yeah. Bernie finds out that Asha has dropped the complaint against Naomi because she did that.
No, hang on. Bernie finds out.
I just found it
Dev tells Bernie that it's because of her that Asha's dropped the complaint against Naomi, and he's upset, and so Asha goes and talks to him about this and says, "Look, I don't care. Who knows what would have happened? Don't let this come between you and Bernie. I've decided to remain as a paramedic. I want you to be happy." So they all go and have a nice time.
Yeah, she's kind of painting on a picture that everything's all right in this scene, and then later on with Naomi at the hospital, doesn't she?
No, Sienna,
sorry, at the hospital. Yeah, they're the best mates now.
No, she's just killed Naomi.
She's just
zipping her
wheeling
up
her
in
down
the
to the morgue. Yeah, because we have that scene where they're walking down the hospital corridors saying, "Oh, the wedding all went great. It gave me a kick at the backside that I needed today. I'm all raring to go," but then Sienna gets called away by somebody and Asha has a bit of a lip wobble. So clearly not everything is okay there.
Yeah. I want to give props to the person who called Sienna away, because I thought they did a fantastic job of sounding like somebody who works at a hospital who hates their life.
Right. I love the relationship between Asha and Dev. Alahan's a brilliant family, but this has not grabbed me, unfortunately, yet. Do you want to? How are you finding the Becky stuff today, Gemma? Your new least favourite story.
Do you know what? She's ruined the name of Becky on this show, and I'm not having it anymore. I think it's disgrace what she's done.
Oh, I think maybe Becky McDonald should come back, and then Becky
They should
Swain
have a Becky
has a
off,
cat
shouldn't they?
fight. Yeah.
I was just quickly looking up to see if I could see whether Bernie has changed her name in the credits.
Well, let me have a look while you say a little bit
It's
about...
just coming up there.
That's all right. No, she's still Bernie Winter.
Okay,
it says
right.
in the credits for today.
All we get of Swala and co is Friday's episode.
Well, you couldn't go through that a whole week past without having any of it.
I think there will be a gap, but I don't know. The Swala fans always know when they're going to be in it, so I go by them. So
Sal was saying when I was talking to her the other day that might have been nice to have had a final scene with Carla, but Ali was on holiday during it. But they feel more out of order, so Wednesday's scenes could well have been... Wednesday's Jenny scenes could have been filmed quite a way apart from Friday's Twyla scenes.
Well, it's very difficult. I wouldn't be bothered to do any of this. Friday is the only time we get to see Twyla, and it is Betsy telling Lisa that Becky's coming around for lunch, and Lisa's like, oh, sorry, Carla. And Carla's like, yeah, this is actually absolutely a load of tosh.
Yeah, Betsy is still very much loved up with her best mum, isn't she?
Well, she got mad at her for like a day when Becky told her to stop being a delinquent.
Yes.
And now she's back to liking her again.
Yeah, and draping herself over her in speed dial.
So... Also, I found this weird. Right, number one, Becky's got a horrible coat, a new horrible coat. I didn't know that there were so many awful coats in the world. And I know I'm no fashion horse myself. I look like I'm wearing Rita's bin bag most of the time. But I wouldn't be seen dead in this, and I guess that's what she is. She's dead in a horrible coat.
You're so harsh.
She's on television. I refuse to have my photo taken because I know I look like a horrible scarecrow wearing a bag.
There's nothing too wrong with Becky's coat.
It's awful. It does look like she robbed an old man.
I mean, it's
pushed him in a canal.
It's no Daisy purple and green checkered classic
Anthropology.
or Hayley's red anorak, but it's fine.
Where'd she buy it from? Where do they sell these things?
Gregory Pope.
Right, so... I also got bamboozled by this because I didn't realise that Kit didn't know who she was.
No, he does. He's
no,
playing along with it.
No. I didn't know that he'd never met her before.
Oh, okay.
So they're like, "Oh, hi, Kit. This is my sister."
Well, no,
what's her name?
I think he
Auntie
says,
Kim.
"Have you met?" And he's the one that volunteers. Oh, yes, this is your sister, to try and play along. But it doesn't last long.
Well, he's
does
like,
it?
this isn't going to work for her. I literally can't understand what the hell is going on in this storyline with this.
I'm a bit confused.
She's on the run. She's hiding. She's officially dead, but she's not dead because she's gone to the bistro. She's ordering food. She's wearing horrible clothes, but she's also hiding.
Yeah, I don't understand.
What is she like? Normally, does she look like what? Heidi Klum or something, and so dressing up like a Halloween scarecrow is a disguise, because Heidi Klum's really good at Halloween outfits, isn't she?
The theme of today's episode was Carla getting gradually more and more annoyed that Becky won't just go away
and die again.
Yeah.
So anyway, they go to the bistro because that's what you do when you're in hiding, and Betsy's like, "Oh, I love my mum," and they all start sharing the food and eating off each other's plates and going, "Oh, this is what we're like. We're a family where we all eat off each other." Stop being obnoxious for a start. I ordered my food and this is my food. And
was it Lisa who said, "I don't share"?
Well, no, hang on. Becky's like, "Oh, well, we can't eat off Carla's plate," and then she goes to get food from Lisa's plate, and Lisa's like, "No, my plate's off.
That's it.
My plate is my plate too. I'm not sharing."
I think there's some subtext there. I don't know what you think.
I don't want to.
Is this an analogy for something?
Probably, yeah. And they're like, "Oh, maybe we shouldn't have pretended you're my aunt, you're my sister, because it would have made more sense to be my friend."
Well, yeah, Betsy's struggling with remembering to call her Auntie Kim, isn't she?
Why didn't they just say, "This is Becky, who used to go to university with her"? I know that she's got the same name as my... Like, really? If somebody said to you, "Yeah, this is my friend Becky from university," you wouldn't go, "Oh, why has she got the same name as your dead wife?"
No, exactly.
You wouldn't even bring it up, would you?
No.
And if you thought about it, you'd go, "Well, better not bring that up."
Well, we've all made quick decisions that we've regretted, haven't we, to try and cover things up.
Starting a podcast.
Yeah.
So
700 episodes later, you just still can't get out of it, can you?
Carla's like, I thought you were being hunted by a gang of criminals, desperate criminals. Aren't you? Isn't it a bit dangerous to be here? Why are we having lunch? You don't really want normality, like you say. And Becky's like, "Oh, fine, I'll go." And Carla's like, "No, don't bother, I'll go first." So she goes off to the police station, sees Kit, and starts moaning about Becky to him and going, "I don't believe a word of this story of hers. Isn't it weird?" And everyone at home's going, "Yes, none of this makes sense, Carla. I'm glad that you finally woken up. You should tell the scriptwriters that this doesn't make any sense."
I'm still not bothered by it.
"Can you do a bit of digging, Kit?" And Kit goes, "Well, I can't help you, but C.I. Crawley can."
D.I. Crawley.
I've
written C.I. Crawley.
I don't know what any of this means.
Detective Inspector Crawley.
It means nothing to me.
You know how he got his position? By crawling.
Yes. Crawley worked with Costello and Becky, and as he's speaking, he just stops speaking, and the camera's like, sorry, Kit, you're in the way. We're trying to get Costello glaring at you.
He's having a massive lurk in the background there, Costello, wasn't he?
Do, 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 do. Costello comes to see Kit in the CID room, and there is a big newspaper in the background which says something like mystery, no, what was it?
Like
evil gang
leader, yeah.
been arrested or something like that. So
was that Curtis?
Was it Curtis? Oh my god. Well, he says, was that Lisa's partner I saw earlier?
Carla.
Not Becky, the dead one, the live one, Carla. Is everything okay? And Kit says, oh, she just wanted to know what presents Lisa would like. And I said, I don't know, some kind of horrible coat. Costello doesn't believe him.
Yeah, he's not buying any of this.
It says, why were you talking about Crawley? I know that you rang him up after Carla left, and that Crawley then told me. And he says, well, I can explain. And then after the break, he's telling Costello everything he knows about Becky being back, and that's why he called Crawley, because he wanted to verify the story. And Costello's like, well, I'm glad you know. I didn't want to keep you in the dark. You're such a great guy. I think you're ready for a promotion, don't you? And Kit's like, yes, I would love to be bribed with more money.
Well, it's not. I think it's more just the fact that he's going to be the same rank as Lisa if he ranks up, and that's really not going to go down well with her, is it?
DS.
Yeah, DS. He's going to be sergeant. This is just Costello trying to say, don't you give anything away. I know you know that I'm dodgy, but...
Well, he's like, look, we'll stick together.
You scratch my back, I'll scratch yours.
You go... What can Lisa offer you? I can offer you a promotion.
Mm.
So, he's evil now,
well, that story... No, who, Kit?
No, he's not... Well...
No, Kit's just going along with it. He's going to pretend to not...
Why?
Dob on Costello.
Why have you got that?
I just thought the look that he was giving, I thought he's been mega suspicious of Costello. I don't believe whatsoever that he's saying, oh, well, okay, if you give me a promotion, you're my best mate. I think he's going to go along with it and pretend to be dancing to Costello's tune. He's going to get his promotion as DS, and then he's gonna sell him out.
I know whatever he does, he's gonna wait till he gets promoted.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, Kit only cares about Kit.
Yes. But I think, yeah, he is also on Lisa's side, it seems to look like.
Do you think?
Well, I don't know. He's just on the side of, I want to take Costello down. It wouldn't surprise me if he was eyeing the DI position himself when Costello eventually gets carted off to...
That would be quite funny.
Yeah.
So, Carla...
Can you imagine him, like, being fast-tracked and then leapfrogging Lisa?
She wouldn't like that.
No, I wouldn't care because that's too policey for Coronation Street. This is my main problem with today's episode. We'd been having a couple of episodes of relationship stuff. We've had the coercive control. We've had Jenny departing. It felt a little bit more like Coronation Street again. We had the location shoot scene, and then back to Friday. It was just more drudgery at the police station and that lengthy scenes of Costello and Kit talking about promotions and cases. No, I don't want to watch this.
Nobody gets promoted on Coronation Street unless it's from sewing machinist to supervisor. And that's literally the only social mobility that happens in the whole street ever.
Landlady, no, barmaid to landlady. Okay. Sometimes.
There are two routes to success, and those are it. So, Carla gets home later and says, oh, sorry everybody. I really don't like what's happening. Like, I'm alienating Roy to keep the secret. Roy, poor Roy is just like...
He's just being made a liar.
Steam's coming out of his ears, probably, trying to keep this up. And nobody's even caring or asking about Becky. Because apparently she's completely invisible to everybody. Maybe that coat is the cloak of invisibility or something.
Maybe it is.
She's like, I'm sorry, this is really ugly, but it's the only thing that works.
It's one of the Deathly Hallows. You'd wear it too if you had it.
I do think
you can't wear it.
If you're a woman of a certain age, and I'm not saying anything about anybody, I don't know how old Amy is, but when you get to be a middle-aged woman, if you wear horrible clothes, you become invisible. Nobody ever sees you again, so she's probably right to wear that. So, she says that I'm also upset because you, me, and Lisa, you and me, Lisa, we used to be our own little team, and now here's bloody Becky. And I think we're going to have to find a better, you're going to have to come up with a better plan.
Yes.
And than no plan.
But they seem to be on the same team, don't they? And there's lots of more draping of arms around each other and hand holding.
How is...
They're both kind of
all
saying, we are committed
lovey...
to each other. This isn't going to get in the way. And I don't think it will. I can't see any world where Lisa is going to have her head seriously turned by Becky.
I
think Becky's going to get a bit more bunny boilerish about it. And,
probably. But what... Like, do you think Becky's got a set? Because she's... Well, how is she on the run when she's got her own... She's bought
not on the run anymore,
a brand new washing machine.
Dead, everything's safe.
No, she's saying that... No, they said earlier that the gang are still after her.
Oh, yeah, they did, didn't they?
And they're still lying about who she is and saying that she's... I think at a certain point now, they're just lying that she's not Becky because it's so awkward and embarrassing to admit that she's back from the dead. And there'd be so many questions.
Well, I don't...
Talk about coming back from the dead and reinventing yourself.
Yeah.
Here's Bethany.
Speaking of other police station scenes in today's episode, so we have the big reveal that Bethany has come back because she's been arrested for car theft.
Is she the person who's had the worst career in Coronation Street history?
Why?
Because she keeps messing up.
Oh, yeah.
She's always being fired or let go or making a mistake or doing something weird and getting fired from magazines.
I think it was somewhat unnecessary to have her big reveal be, I'm being arrested by Kit, or I'm being questioned by Kit, because it gets brushed under the carpet pretty quickly. And I know that Costello uses that a little bit to try and get a bit of leverage over Kit, doesn't
weave in a bit.
But it felt a little like, whoa, it's Bethany and she's been arrested. Why couldn't she just turn up in a taxi or something like normal people do when they come and visit their family? It
did feel a bit like when Dee Dee first came in and they were like, look, she's got her toilet roll on her shoe. What a disaster. But she's actually a clever lawyer.
Yeah, it didn't really
like Bethany,
do it for me.
Bethany's like, my quirk is that I'm incompetent.
I still can't completely decide whether I'm happy or not to see Bethany back. When Bethany's good, she's a really, really great character. Like last year when we had the dinner party scene at the Rovers and she knew about Stephen's diary that Jenny and Daisy had stolen the money from.
Yeah.
She's great. When she's sniping with Daisy, it was fantastic, but she doesn't have that anymore. And I think that they really need to do something quick to set up, like, why should we be excited about Bethany coming back? Bethany
is best when they don't take her seriously. And I think she had that fantastic story with
Nathan,
and that was brilliant. And they obviously had to. She was credible. They had to take her seriously. Lucy Fallon, fantastic job, great story. But Bethany now is floundering without that kind of story to hook onto. But just like her mum, she is a total flake and a disaster. And the show should not take her seriously as a serious character. She shouldn't be an investigative journalist. She should be just a silly, like, snipey idiot, like Sarah.
It's funny because she's obviously back because Lucy Fallon's back from her maternity leave and Coronation Street couldn't say no.
No, you're fired.
But it still feels like, and maybe we'll be, proven wrong in the near future. It's like, well, maybe she's back. It was like, well, what are we going to do with her now? Yeah, we were doing quite fine without her, to be honest.
Yeah, the only reason Bethany's back is because Lucy Fallon's back. It feels like. What's her story? How does she slot into the show without Daisy, without being Daniel's girlfriend?
Yeah. Is she just going to be bumming around Sarah's flat? Is she going to get a job? Is she going to get a boyfriend?
Like, no slight on Lucy Fallon at all.
No, she's great fun.
Because I think Bethany's great when they use her well, but how are they going to use her now? Because they could do anything with this. Literally, they could do anything with this character.
I thought it was kind of interesting, because, again, if we just kind of briefly summarise, today's episode, she and Daniel agree that they're not going to go back to that same well again, which we all assumed that they would go to when
Daniel was having women fight over him and now nobody wants him.
Yeah. Bethany seemed a little bit put out when they had that scene in the bistro because she says, look, just letting you know, I don't want anything to do with you anymore. We're not going to have a relationship, so you can get that idea right out of your head. And when Daniel's like, yeah, I know, I got the impression that Bethany was like, oh.
Yeah, so...
Not that because she wanted him back, because she wanted to be triumphant and it didn't work because he agreed with her.
So basically, Bethany's story is she took her boss's car, drove it here, got arrested because she's been fired from the magazine for outing a source.
She didn't ask permission
and didn't ask for the car because she didn't think her boss would notice. And so it all gets kind of cleared up because Kit, greases some wheels.
Strings, yeah.
And Sarah's like, "Oh, where are you gonna live?" And she's like, "Oh, I thought I was living with you."
So she has a meet up with Daniel, and they agree that they're probably not gonna
forget it.
Go back to that again. But do you think they will?
Yeah.
Because again, Daniel,
of course they will.
Daniel has literally done nothing.
No.
Since Daisy left. Has he just been on that trip to Euro Disney that she funded with
probably
with the stolen money,
getting
Mickey Mouse's autograph?
He got locked in an office when Mick was on the rampage.
Oh yes, we did. So he clearly is working at the school now, isn't he? Because Jake called him Sir.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think it just feels fairly inevitable that they will get back together. I don't really like them as a couple. I much prefer Daniel and Daisy, but in the
Bethany
absence
can't
of
handle
that,
Daniel.
In the absence of Daniel and Daisy, maybe, because I don't know who else Daniel would go out with. But does he need someone? I don't know. But anyway,
make Daniel gay,
so
that he can have a bigger dating pool. Because at the moment, there's more gay men touting for business than there are women who want to go out with Daniel.
So
I mean, who is there in that age bracket?
I don't know. Not many people, really, is there?
Who is there? Dee Dee? She's not interested in Daniel.
Michael. Oh no, sorry, I thought you were talking about to Bethany.
I was going to say, Michael and Dee Dee can't go out.
There was a spark of something, a tiny little bit between Dee Dee and Daniel early this year. They had a few scenes together. Yeah, she does have Ollie, doesn't she? Anyway, I don't know. So I'm kind of happy but cautious that Bethany is back. I really hope that they can give her something juicy and meaty, because ever since Nathan story ended, it's like, it doesn't
nothing juicy and meaty. Get her a job working at the Underworld with Sarah, and they can both be idiots together, and I think it would be hilarious because Carla would just want to pull her eyelashes out.
Yeah. Anyway, that's that. And then we also had, like we said at the beginning, a little bit of the Oliver Twist story, which is just Dee Dee. Dee Dee thinks that she's a bit guilty because after she told Ollie, "Or what are you doing criticising Toya's food?" she thinks that she may have blotted a copybook a little bit there. And Ronnie says, "Look, just eat a slice of humble pie, suck it up, and I'm sure you'll be back on track."
Suck up the humble pie.
You know it, yeah. Ollie runs into Dee Dee in the shop later, and Dee Dee says, "Look, sorry, I can't go out tonight as my brother can't look after Layla." And Ollie's like, "Oh, why not bring Layla?
I might as well get to know her."
Turns out that Ollie is great with children because he's got a stepsister in primary school, and Dee Dee thinks this is all fantastic stuff. And then James comes in and Ollie says, "Oh, come and sit down with us as well because I want to get to know Dee Dee's family." And he just proves himself to be an absolutely lovely chap. But we know he's got a secret still, don't we?
Well, also, James, when Dee Dee goes to the toilet, James is like, "Listen, buddy, don't you mess my sister around."
Oh, yeah, otherwise you're going to have me to deal with. And
well, yeah, you handled Joel so well, James.
Yeah, I can't say that I'd be too intimidated by James, but...
No, I just get feared to beat him up.
Sure he could still take me.
Oh yeah, he'd beat both of us up.
Anyway, that was this week's Coronation Street, and sorry if we rushed through some of those last stories, but I think we gave ample time to the stories that pleased us the most. So yeah, Jenny is the character of the week from both of us. No quibbles there.
But what's the score?
What's the score? What is the score?
Okay, I think we had good scenes, didn't we? Abroad. Afoot, about.
I think Wednesday carried this week. So I wasn't a fan of Fridays, and Wednesdays was okay. I wasn't too enthused by the Asha story or the Becky story this week. Bethany and the Carl story and Abby story. Yes, there was some developments there, but at the end of the day, I'm not really enjoying that story too much. So what held it was the Todd and Theo story and the Jenny, Brian, Christina stuff. Or sorry, George, Christina stuff. I'm
disappointed that Jenny didn't get a proper good ending storyline, but the episode that she had for an exit was, like I keep saying, as good as you can get in one episode.
Yeah. I'm going to give this week's 3.5 fish in a barrel.
Yeah.
That Kirk is wondering whether or not we should shoot because it might just puncture that barrel out of 5. What about you?
I'm going to give this week 3.5 porcelain telephones.
Well, that was yeah. We've got
That was Shona being
a
sick.
couple of lines about Shona's pregnancy and being sick. Yeah. Anyway, it was a good week. It had some real highs, but a few bits
When
that
was
just
the last
didn't
time
tickle my fancy.
We had a pregnant character. It was Dee Dee, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And then before then it was Abby, and she didn't know.
No, Lauren was pregnant, wasn't she, with Frankie? What's happened to him? What's happened to Lauren? Don't ask too much.
Yeah, if you say her name 3 times and look in a mirror, as long as it's not Lucy Fallon's mirror, she'll turn up.
Right, I think we're done. I'm really interested to hear what other people thought of this week's episodes. Because I've seen mixed reports on Jenny's exit. But
Yes,
what did you
definitely.
think of the rest? Right, that's it for Street Talk.
We done it.
We've done Street Talk. We're done.